This is the Roy stream. Welcome, Roy, to the show.
This is probably the most important Skyhammer of the game, and we're already seeing Red Team with an advantage here. We see the connection found under the Bladesworn here from Blue Team. He's going to be brought into downstate and almost immediately cleaved out. Very nice cleave from Red Team, where you wouldn't necessarily expect it, but a return kill now onto the Red Team Bladesworn. Blue Team going to be putting some pressure onto that. We're going to see if Red Team can try to find a res or at least counter pressure. Spree already going to be a little bit low on that. They're still holding onto the res. We see Aoni doing a great job of holding on to that res, but the pressure they're going to be really good from Spree. He's going to port back in. A lot of really low players here. Azurdome, Aoni, both going to be very, very low. The Bladesworn gets cleaved out and taken out, but Spree's going to fall himself. And what a catastrophe here for both of these teams on Skyhammer. It's so close, a 10-point difference, but now we're going to see Remy going to downstate. The final Spectre here from Red Team, excuse me, he's going to go down. Azurdome, so low. Teapot, not that I don't want you to, be wearing your shirt, because it's the classic Teapot. I'm just curious, what would it take for you to wear a suit? I know you've said that you don't like suits before. I obviously we've had this conversation many times, but I was just curious because I think you'd look great in a suit. But I'm just curious: would you ever wear a suit? Would you ever don one?
Because this is much more exciting. This is the Roy stream. Welcome, Roy, to the show. Good, you are audible. That's a very, very good start. I love to see that.
Love to hear it.
Yeah, that is very, very good indeed. And welcome, everyone. Welcome, one and all, to our monthly automated tournament casting stream. Roy is already with the suit. He's good. Stroim. Yeah, that's the Roy kind of getting in there as well. We're going to be starting up in just about 15 minutes. Thanks to GW2 for the host there. That's a little bit of a bonus meme there. No, I don't have a suit. Only Roy does. But anyway, welcome. For those who are new, this is an automated event in the game. So it's not run, it's commentated by the community and played by the community. But you sign up for this tournament directly in Guild Wars 2. Right? You can take 5 players, your team that you've been working on maybe. You qualify for it by playing in the smaller automated tournaments. You get in there, and the winners have some incredibly prestigious rewards, including a title for being the best of the best, and even a gizmo item, which is a special floating thing above your head that allows you to flex on how good you are at PvP. Really exciting in-game activity, and I'm a big fan of them. It's a great part of the Guild Wars 2 PvP system. But anyway, Roy, welcome to the show.
Thank you very much. Obviously appreciate you having me on here to cast with you, Teapot. Looking forward to it. It should be a good time. But yeah, obviously, as Teapot mentioned, the monthly automated tournament, happens monthly. And of course, we've got the daily automated tournaments as well. They run 8 times a day, every few hours. So if you are interested in getting into PvP, it's a good time to do so. Get some qualifying points for the monthly. Get your rewards. As Teapot mentioned, you get a cool hat and maybe a title if you win. But yeah, I'm looking forward to it. I think I've heard some rumors. So just for the record, this does happen on both the North American region and the European region simultaneously. So obviously, we can only really watch one at a time. Maybe there's a chance that we can jump over to the other region if one finishes before the other. But we are going to be starting on the European region and sticking with that until it finishes. But I have heard some rumors of some pretty cool teams. And I know that you did a tournament yourself, Teapot, a community-run tournament that you were running a couple months ago, or last month, I suppose, where we had some pretty exciting teams. We actually had a North American team win since it was a cross-region deal there. And we won't be seeing them today in the European matches, but any exciting teams you're looking forward to today?
Well, there are definitely 2. I think 2 really big teams that have been practicing a lot for this event. I know that a few extra ones are formed last minute because we're doubling the gold prizes for the top 8 here. But the 2 I think that I'm really excited to see perform are actually going to be the French Worms. They may have renamed themselves to a different team name at this point, but a French team and Team Barcode. The French team, they kind of almost went into a bit of a retirement for a while, but as I understand it now, they're back and better than ever with some of top-tier theory crafting. The French teams in Guild Wars 2 are very much known for having a very interesting approach to the game, often innovating new play styles and kind of breaking the game, to be frank, sometimes. And of course, Team Barcode is just a rock-solid roster of players that have started to play comparatively, relatively recently. They performed in the community tournament that you mentioned previously, and they have stuck together, which is awesome to see, and will now be playing in the monthly as well. Pretty epic stuff. Yeah. So those are the 2 teams that I'm watching out for. And I believe there is also a pickup group as well. It's kind of a group of players that formed at the last moment with some very spicy players as well, including legendary players like Boyce and Syndrana, if I recall correctly, who are both proper ledgers in Guild Wars 2. Syndrana, of course, being an ex-professional player as well.
Yeah, and I believe both winners of the first Masters of the
Indeed.
Arena tournament that
Correct.
you did in 2020.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, and so of course some good stuff there. Yeah, no, I think it's really cool that they sort of formed this team up last minute when they heard about the tournament happening, and so it's good to see them. Barcode, as you mentioned, definitely a team that has been going on. I don't know, probably for several months at least now. I know they participated in a couple of year tournaments beforehand, a few monthlies as well. The captain, of course, my old guild leader, which is of course some nice little lore there. You'll love to see it. But yeah, I think that's a really cool team that kind of came together as more unknown, right? We've had a lot, like you mentioned, the French Worms, obviously rank 55. There's a couple other teams that have been kind of floating in and around the EU meta for a really long time, and this team sort of came together, like I said, as a bit more unknowns. They weren't an official team for a really long time. They weren't, like ex-Pro League players for the most part. They hadn't participated in any of the larger community tournaments in the past. So it's really cool to see them kind of rise through the ranks. And yeah, we are expecting some big things from them today, certainly. And yeah, I'm definitely looking forward to it. But do we know who won the last monthly automated tournament? So the July one.
We do.
This is, of course, August. And are they playing today?
I'm actually not sure. I think it's quite likely we see a version of this team. The team that won last time is a team known as Team Copium, and it has a few core members on the roster, and then usually you'll see potentially one or two different. It's kind of a relatively larger group of players, and so yeah, they may be playing in some form or another, but I'm not actually entirely sure if they are to defend that title, because they did win. In fact, in the last tournament, they were able to win against a full roster of one of the top teams on Europe, in fact, rank 55 Dragons in the Grand Finals. And, well, that's the thing about the monthly as well, is that all of these games are actually best of ones. And that means that it's pretty cutthroat. It is super, super brutal, actually. And, you really have to perform and super step up. Otherwise, you can end up in a lot of trouble. Of course, that's in the elimination. The first part of this tournament is actually essentially a group stage. It's a Swiss-style tournament with where there are multiple rounds where you can basically qualify for the elimination stage at the end of it. When it gets to the elimination, when we get to those really big prizes and the ultimate victor, all best of ones.
Yeah, absolutely. It's kind of the most high-risk, high-reward, really octane-fueled situation you could find yourself in. So, it's exciting stuff. So, yeah, we got the Swiss, then we got the elimination at the end. Do you have any predictions? Do you think that we're going to see this rank 55 group? Not really group, I should say, because, again, it's really just Sin and Boyce with some other players. Gornet, though, who was one of the players who got to the finals, the second-place overall team for your tournament last month, and of course, a very well-known player, playing with Ultranum/Ultra Scuff for a really long time on EU. So he'll be playing with them among some others. But, I mean, do you think that they're going to be able to, having not really practiced for this tournament at all, where we know Barcode has been scrimming for a really long time and practicing for this tournament specifically, do you think that they're going to be able to, make their way to the finals and really perform just based off of their merits and own personal play? Or do you think that they're going to fall out a little bit sooner? We might not even see them in the elimination stage.
It's honestly a really good question. I think that the thing about the teams that kind of form relatively late into the day, I suppose, a lot of the times it's players who are extremely, extremely experienced. And in Guild Wars 2, having just the knowledge of how the game works, it can honestly take you a really long way. So I think we're certainly going to see the kind of the rank 44, right? That's I think that's what people are calling them, the rank 44 team. I think we actually will see them perform because despite perhaps it being a relatively fresh team, I think their game knowledge and mechanical skill will take them a long way. However, I think it will definitely not be an easy ride for them, right? And I think that some of the teams that have really been practicing and have been building up that group synergy, strategy, and composition stuff will certainly give them a challenge. This is particularly true in my opinion, as I think the rank 44 team is actually a little bit less likely to play a optimized composition. I think it's quite likely that they'll play builds that they really enjoy playing. You see this a lot, I think, with some of the really good players, is that they won't necessarily completely conform to the metagame. They'll mix it up a little bit. Whereas the teams that are extremely focused on victory will really delve into the theorycraft and the composition style stuff and make the best possible strategy in team comp that they can, which is of course relevant. If you are able to get a really strong team composition, that's a significant advantage in a PB. Who'd have thought that, right? Having a good strat is good, right? Yeah,
usually that is a good way to play the game, or any game really, or anything. But yeah, I'm a little curious that they're calling themselves rank 44 when there's really only 2 members from rank 55. Shouldn't they be rank 22?
Maybe,
22?
yeah. Maybe it is time for rank 22. Like we can rename them.
I mean, they've obviously dropped a few tiers there. So, although you'd kind of think that would be better, right? Because if you're rank 22, you're higher than rank 55. So maybe they had to cut off, like Misha and Draza, right, to get to the higher ranks. Is that maybe what we're saying here?
It's possible. Yeah, I think that is possible.
Yeah. So I guess I should also note, since I've seen some people questioning about it, the Guild Wars 2 channel, the official channel, is not live currently. Yes, we are just hosting Teapot. We were planning to stream on the channel. Unfortunately, there was a last-minute situation that prevented us from using the studio, which is where we were planning on broadcasting from. And so we had to kind of switch things up a little bit. And so now I'm just going to be joining Teapot here as a guest on his stream, who is, of course, nice enough to let us, on his stream and stream the monthly with us. So, unfortunate situation, but we're making the best of it, and we'll still have an awesome show for you guys. So appreciate you all coming out and watching, and now you all get to just stay here on Teapot stream, and you can spam his funny emotes in the chat.
Exactly.
Very cool. Yeah, you'll love to see it.
And yeah, look at that. That's pretty interesting actually there, Roy. We have just got a link from Grouch in the chat. We have ascended.
Whoa.
To the front page. We have ascended all the way there.
Oh my God.
Our two beautiful faces. Oh,
yours,
there.
certainly.
Wow. Would you look at that? That's just some fantastic stuff. And we're going to be getting into the games very, very shortly, actually. The tournament will be beginning in just around 5 minutes. So bear with us, and we're about to leap into it. And I'm just going to go over what we're going to be doing here. So in the first round, we're going to be introducing some of these players. What we'll probably do is just poke around a little bit and see who's playing, see what teams are involved, and going to talk about maybe the history, the context of some of the teams, like who the players are, so you can get a good feel for them. Okay, hopefully they've actually named their characters something remotely sensible. Not feeling super confident about that one, but should be pretty entertaining either way. But yeah, that's what we do. And then as we go through the rounds of the tournament, we'll go ahead and kind of stick in some games and commentate some of these games and explain what's going on. Of course, make it very, very exciting. Get the hype going, as it were.
Yeah. So like Teapot said, we're probably not really going to stick with a specific match in the first round unless we find ourselves in a match that is, of course, really, really close, really competitive. A lot of the first rounds tend to sort of be almost the system getting a feel for who's in the tournament. And then as the tournament progresses, the matches tend to get a little bit more competitive, a little bit closer. There is, of course, a little bit of a matchmaking system based on the QP that you have, which, again, as we mentioned, you can gain throughout the rest of the month through just the regular daily ATs. So, like I said, we'll probably just get, a feel for who is playing today, which teams are playing, which players, go over them a little bit, because, again, sometimes Boyce decides to name himself, 10 random characters he touches on his keyboard, and, well, it's not so clear that he is Boyce, of course, in that case, which is a little difficult, but you know what, we'll still, of course, make the best of it. But yeah, you did touch upon the comps earlier, how, the rank 22 Dragons might be playing something that's potentially suboptimal on purpose. What are your expectations for what we're probably going to see from an optimal level? I know Spectre obviously is a very, very prevalent class right now in PvP. A lot of people have been playing it, stacking it even. Are you expecting us to see anything that isn't, just several Spectres, plus maybe Bladesworn, Catalyst, a support in some way? Or, do you think there's anything else we might see?
Yeah, we'll certainly see how that's going to transpire. But yeah, as you pointed out there, I am expecting to see a lot of thieves here. Has been a bit of a shake-up recently with the balance, but teams slowly adapt and figure out what's going on, and have kind of come to the conclusion that actually running multiple thieves on a team is actually incredibly strong in the 5v5 PvP context. So I'm certainly expecting, a few very, very powerful amounts of Spectres to be seen in some of these games. But I'm certainly, I don't think every game will be like that. For a start, there simply aren't that many thieves to go around. But also, there are some very, very powerful options in the metagame right now, including support Tempest, type of Elementalist, of course, Bladesworn, the Warrior, okay, and more as well. Maybe a little bit of Revenant there with some Herald action too. The possibilities are endless. A bit of Catalyst about the place. I think there's could be some good variety here. But I think we are going to see some pretty interesting compositions from some of the teams. In particular, I think you really want to be watching out for the French team, as the French team, they always do manage to come up with something just a little bit unusual.
Are we going to see Renegades, do you think? French is known for playing Renegades?
Yeah, they are known for playing Renegade. I did actually see Azaz playing Vindicator recently, actually.
Oh, okay.
I'm not sure if that's going to be played in the main tournament, actually, because I'm not sure about Vindicator, the Vindicator Revenant, so much right now. It did obviously suffer a significant amount of fairly heavy nerfs, actually, in the recent months of the game, as it was causing a few problems. It was certainly a bit of a monstrous build, like early on in PvP, both in terms of damage output, but also in terms of its insane survivability and support capabilities. It's a bit of a monster, but, you know, we'll see. I think you really can't write anything off when it comes down to these big tournaments, because that's what's really exciting about them. You know, when people are playing ranked, they're playing for fun, right? They just want to kind of blast, get a bit of rating, get a bit of gold, all that kind of stuff. But when you've got something on the line, when you've got a big prize, you know, thousands of gold on the line, when you have these exclusive titles, and of course, funny hats, that's where people really break out their ultimate strategies, right? That's where people kind of release what they've been working on and been, you know, hiding in secrecy as they, you know, go about their practice scrims and practice games and so on. So I think we're going to see a bit of a treat here. Some very, very intense matches and some interesting theory crafting and compositions.
Yeah, now, I have been watching Boyce stream sometimes when I'm able to tear myself away from twitch.tv/muckluck, but and it looks like a lot of the time he has been playing Untamed. Now, do you think that we're going to see any Untamed gaming today?
I think it's possible. Boyce is an Untamed fan. He may just play it because he enjoys it. Okay, I think that's,
Right.
in fact, it may be quite likely. Because, in fact, Untamed, it definitely is a strong build. The Ranger, the newest Ranger Elite Specialization, of course, has a bit of vulnerability that it can be fairly easy to focus down, but in the hands of a skilled player, it can absolutely devastate an extremely high skill cap build to play. Very hard to play, actually, and to play effectively. So I think that there could be some Untamed play as well. I'm expecting a lot of variety, actually. There could even be Mesmers. Mesmer are obviously not doing super hot right now in recent times, but I believe an old face has returned here on EU as well. A member of one of the teams that was known as the Serial Killers. And by serial, I don't mean, you know, an actual serial killer. We're talking about the breakfast here in this case. Rip the Mesmer. That's his actual name. Has returned. Yes. So we may be seeing some Mirage or Virtuoso play as well. So I think we should have all of our bases covered, I think.
Nice. Now, Rip would be exciting if we get to see Rip back. That would be obviously a very, very cool treat. And I've got some exciting news.
I think it's time to leave
It is a quarter after, which means yes, the tournament is just about underway. I think we might be able to start getting into some matches. The first matches have popped up. It might take a minute for them to actually allow us to go in and spectate, but we'll be getting that going very soon. Oh, there's one.
I've joined in.
Look at that.
I have joined into the first match to see who's playing. And actually, that's so here is where Rip is playing. And yes, just as I expected, it is going to be a Mirage here. And this is actually a team known as Ancient Contenders. They're called that because they played the game ages ago. That's why they're ancient, and that's why they're also contenders. So we actually have a Blade Sworn on our red team here, which is kind of almost like it's a bit of a hybrid build in the sense that it can do a little bit of everything. It does a lot of damage, it can heal, it can bring support, right, to the table, and also handle 1v1s and so on. The Mirage, which is kind of like a high DPS mobile roamer here. There's actually a double Mirage here, as we have Packwax, who's also known as Tupac Shakur, playing on another Mirage. I think more of a duelist build here. Yeah, it is. It's more of a 1v1 Mirage build. From Packwax, we have Spocker on the Spectre. Expect to see a few more of those. And we finally have a Catalyst. And this is actually the special source. Catalyst, this is Nico, me and you. This player actually, a lot of players play Hammer on Catalyst, but actually this player likes to go for the dagger setup, in fact. So a slightly different weapon. But there you go.
Absolutely. And sorry, I'm just jumping around. I was taking a look at the match that Boyce's team is going to be in.
Oh, really?
I'm gonna try and make my way to you. I think that's with Nico, right?
I'm already out. Ooh, I'm just going to go ahead and take a look at some of these teams.
Ahead of me.
Yeah, I'm going everywhere.
Sounds good.
I'm just going to go down. I think we could also look at the Barcode team here, which is, well, it's Team Barcode there, right there. And we'll go and introduce you to some of the wonderful teams that we're going to be playing in here. So actually here...
Are their names going to be Barcodes? Ugh.
Yeah, two of them
only
are.
two.
Two of them are Barcodes.
That's not terrible.
Yeah, it's, you know, it could be a lot worse. We have Maya on a Spectre here. We have Looney, who is a Barcode, playing on Harbinger. Actually fell out a little bit out of favor. Like, I'm not seeing that many Necromancers these days in PvP. There was some significant changes to the balance that kind of forced it out of the metagame a little bit. We have another Blade Sworn here from Demolish. We have a Revenant. Oh, actually, wait, what is this? Wait, is this a Bunker Revenant? Yeah, this is a
Herald,
Bunker.
too.
Yeah, Bunker Herald coming through. We actually did see this. This player did actually play this in the Master of the Arena qualifier, in fact. It was okay. It didn't seem super strong about that, but it seemed to be okay. And finally, we have Enigma on the Untamed, as requested. Here we go.
Absolutely, and something that I think is pretty cool to note about Enigma is that since this team has started, they've gone through a lot of roster changes, and Enigma has almost always been the one swapping classes. We've seen him play, I believe, Herald, we've seen him play Core Guardian, we've seen now him obviously on Untamed, not to mention, I believe, some other classes, might have even been on some Bladesworn magic there, but we can obviously talk about that in a moment. Enigma already going to be taking a little bit of pressure from the blue team Herald, putting some damage on him, but Enigma's team now with this Harbinger able to put some damage back onto the blue team themselves, the Herald having to burn away from the node, and they already got a downstate here in the other Herald, as the blue team are going to be running 2, so 1 kill picked up, potentially a second one, as the Spellbreaker that we're seeing. Wow, 2 warrior specs in 1 match. Very exciting stuff, and that's going to be 2 kills picked up now for red team, Team Barcode, as they are very cleanly shutting blue team out on Legacy so far.
They absolutely are. And I think this is one of the strongest teams in the tournament, so I do believe this is going to be heavily favored towards our red team here, but I think a great introduction to how a lot of these fights are going. Some excellent target focus and just defensive posturing here from the red team. They're able to simply pick off their opponents and then control the map. I think we're going to be seeing them go to a 3-node capture point here. And at that stage, the game will be very, very swiftly drawing to its conclusion. As indeed, when you gain a lead this big in the early game, it can be very difficult to recover. And that's kind of getting to that point right now. And in fact, the blue team, they maybe are just going for one more regroup to try and win, but they certainly realize this is a very, very difficult game for them. So I think it is time to go and leap on over to a different match and actually see what some of the other teams are. Where was the boys team? Okay, I think we can actually just have a quick overview of the boys team then. I'm going to go to that one. It's the Indecipherable game, I believe, right? So let's go and take a look at that.
Yes, that is the new account name for Syndrenner. Changes his account name every 3 months.
He does?
To,
That's
stay ahead of the game.
Yep. And again,
there we go. The Thieves have arrived.
Yeah, this is a good chunk of Thieves here. In fact, we are going to be having 3 Spectres coming out for our red team here. Boyce on the Herald, Floor on the Bladesword. We have Gornet, Syndrenner, and of course,
Riken.
Who is this? Oh yeah, Riken. Okay,
it's Riken. Yep.
Yeah. Interesting account name there on the 3rd Spectre. Again, a fairly straightforward game, and this is how things do sometimes go in the early rounds of tournaments, because this is where you might occasionally have some slight mismatches, as you have some of the strongest teams in the game going up against players who are just entering to have a good time and to practice and hone their skills. So again, I think we're going to go ahead and move on, but certainly this team, one to watch out for very much so. And actually, you know what's happened, actually? We do have Team Copium has entered, I believe. In fact, twice. There's 2 of them. I'm not sure which is the right one. There's 2 Team Copiums. Let's go ahead and leave over here.
All right, so, well, I've got one of them here. Azure Dome. Okay, I'm in the one with Azure Dome.
Yes. And
okay,
it is it's a triple thief setup again, but we have got a bit of variety. In fact, we have a bit of variety. We have Spectre number 1 over there. We have Phoenix, in fact. It was actually a player who was playing Catalyst and performed extremely well, an Elementalist player in the last tournament, but is now back on the Bladesworn.
And Grimjack.
Yeah.
We've got Grimjack on EU. So Grimjack, a North American player. And it's funny because Phoenix is as well. And Phoenix was performing, as you mentioned, Catalyst very, very well there for Ultra Scuffed in the Moda. But he's actually gone to Bladesworn now, so clearly a multi-class prodigy here for Phoenix. But that's 2 North American players now for this team. I like to see that, but it is obviously not going to necessarily be in their favor since there isn't cross-region in this tournament, which of course is a bit of a strat for your tournaments. But it's certainly interesting. Either way, though, yeah, they are going for well, it's not Spectre stacking as much anymore because Azure Dome has now switched to his signature Deadeye, so a little bit of a Thief mix-up. But yeah, still a pretty competent team here, I'd say, on blue.
Oh, yeah, this is a very powerful team. I think we will see this team very deep into the tournament and being highly competitive, just looking at this. And, yeah, I think it's really fun to point out the Deadeye pick here as well. And this is something that's really cool about players in the Guild Wars 2 scene. Like, even though Spectre may be the really big popular choice for Thief right now, Azure Dome loves Deadeye, right? And, honestly, Azure Dome was absolutely dominating in a previous PvP tournament, actually, the Master of the Arena community tournament, with this Deadeye. And I think if anyone can make it work, it is absolutely going to be Sith Lord Baby Yoda also known as Azadomir. Yeah, again, this is going to be a fairly straightforward game because look, we're just watching all the games with all the insane players in. Let's see, what else do we actually have here? What is the other team copium actually? I'm super curious about that. That game actually hasn't even started. Maybe it bugged out.
Yeah,
it might be. Yeah, it may not. It may actually been something that went slightly wrong there. Sometimes you do have a few interface errors with the tournament overlay here. Let's go ahead and move on to another game. There's actually a Zintrex team here that could be potentially interesting. Oh yeah, actually Akimbo mode is the name of the French team. Let's go ahead and leap into that one, shall we? Where is Akimbo mode?
Absolutely.
Oh, they've already won the game. They won the game 600-0. And I believe that was the French team. And someone told me in the chat that they are indeed running a triple Spectre composition. So, honestly, I think the games at the end of this tournament are going to be truly wild. Because
absolutely.
There's going to be a lot of players moving about the map extremely rapidly, actually. I took a look at the Cranel game real quick, actually. And this is another team that perhaps isn't quite as, like... Omega high effort as they used to, Omega tryhard. Simply players kind of playing for fun here, I believe. But this is a team that used to play under the name Quaggins on Duty. They had an excellent rivalry with another team called Gold 3 Plus in the past. There were some incredible matches between those two teams and kind of the up-and-coming scene in terms of teams on the EU server. And here they are again, crushing this first match. But I think, perhaps, Roy, we should maybe try and find a game that we could actually commentate and then kind of lead us into the next round where we'll get some very exciting games, I believe.
Yeah, absolutely.
What are you thinking?
Keep calm and let Karma finish. That game could be pretty good to take a look at.
Go ahead and leap in. Let's go and take a look.
Absolutely. Yeah.
I am in.
What's going on here?
Joined. Let's see what's going on. I think this is certainly more of an entry-level game, I would say, by the looks of this, by the looks of the player name. So, Roy, kind of walk us through what exactly is going on there? What's the situation in this game that we're currently in right now?
So, obviously, a third of the way through the game already. We've got Blue with about 130 or so point lead, but we did just see a decap coming out on Waterfall, where Blue was previously holding that, and a couple of red players coming in off of their respawns. Unfortunately, one going to get bursted down very hard. The Dragon Hunter trying to keep some pressure onto the Blue team and potentially allow his Thief, Daredevil, so a Thief class we haven't seen yet, to potentially res, but unfortunately that's not going to happen. The Cleave is going to be good. Now the Dragon Hunter getting pressured out. The Reaper probably not far behind. He's going to go down as well, and a couple of quick kills picked up here for Blue team with a slightly better rotation. You can see they're outnumbering Red team here, 4 players to 3, as Blue team are now going to move back into mid, which was getting contested. Unfortunately, Blue team, even with the outnumber, or excuse me, Red team with the outnumber on mid, are unable to kill this core Nekker. They've gotten him down very, very low, but the Herald probably going to fall now with the rest of Blue team coming in off Waterfall. And that is going to be a very good cleanup for Blue team across the map on their side. Right now, just holding on to Graveyard and Waterfall very, very hard.
Yep, that's exactly what's going on here. And this is something that I think we'll be seeing a lot here. Winning fights, who'd have thought it, right? Winning fights is really good in PvP, and the Blue team's ability to just quickly dominate that fight and then rotate around the map certainly gave them the advantage here. I think Red team, they're not out of it yet. Like, Guild Wars 2 PvP is really good in this regard because there's always potential for a comeback. You don't get any stronger throughout the game. In theory, you could win when you've only got 1 point, when you've got 0 and your opponents have 490. You could always make that comeback. And in fact, the Red team are able to pick up a kill on this Core Guardian here. Can they finish it off though? No, they can't. Some great discipline here from the Blue team. Goes for that revival. They actually get their player back up and turn it around and eliminate the Red Dragon at the same time. Some good steely determination there from the Blue team. They're able to actually turn that fight despite having a little bit of a messy opener there. And in fact, they're going to be able to clean up the Red team very nicely here and push their advantage even further.
Yeah, it's going to be pretty hard for Red to recover at this point. Obviously, as you said, it's always possible, and they've done a nice job of holding onto the Quarry so far, although I think that's a little bit more just due to the fact that Blue team are kind of playing this a little bit safer, a little bit slower, really just focusing on holding onto mid and Waterfall, winning those fights there that they know they're able to, and then not moving into the rest of the map, and potentially giving Red team a way to get in. But a little quick note there, really nice res from the Mirage on that node. He was able to kind of bring that fight back their way and hold on to the rest of his players, rally them, get the res up, and win that fight in Waterfall. So nice job, as you mentioned, discipline from the Mirage. We are going to see a downstate, though, in Road, so Willbender going to get picked up here. The Red team doing a nice job finding that kill. We are going to see the Core Guardian coming in, though. Rotation off of mid. Is he going to be able to get the Signet? Oh, it's just a little bit too late. The Stomp is going to be there a bit faster, and that is not going to be the rally for Blue team. But they've got the decap onto the Quarry as a trade for that, and it looks like they probably will be able to confirm this victory pretty shortly.
Yep, exactly right. And yeah, blue team just kind of closing out this game at this point. There's going to be one more major fight here. Support Core Guardian from Press Terror on the blue team doing a fantastic job of keeping the team nice and healthy and able to deliver their damage onto the opponents. There's an attempted revival going on over there, and the red team actually might be able to sneakily grab that. But even if that comes through, no, in fact, it's not going to come through. Oh, a massive burst of damage comes out from blue, eviscerating the Dragon under attempting that revival. The Tempest falls as well for the red team. The Reaper desperately trying to escape, but unfortunately, time is up in this game. And I think that will be kind of towards the end of the first round in the monthly Order Bin tournament. In fact, that is going to be just about it. There it is. Blue team wins. GG, well played to them. Let's go ahead and see if we are going to be moving on. If there's anything still going on, there may be a few games.
Yeah, there's one game that's still going on. It's pretty close to being over, though. 450 points to 360.
Ah, yes.
So we are going to see that one go through pretty quickly. So the way that this works is you do have to wait for the entire round to finish before the next round progresses. So even if you finished 600-0 as Akimbo mode, very, very quickly, very fast, you still have to wait for the rest of the matches to finish because obviously with the Swiss, you're always going to have to get matched up.
You might want to get into this game, Roy, because you know where we're talking about comebacks? We're talking about a comeback here. The red team is up 459 to 389, but the blue team was able to get a big wipe and are actually controlling the entire map right now. They had momentarily a triple cap there, but actually they have just lost that middle node. But actually they are in the winning position right now as they will quickly overtake their opponents as long as they can hold on to this position.
Absolutely, yeah. Nice job. They are going to lose a couple of nodes here, but the damage has been done, and they've closed that gap very nicely. What was a 100-point lead is now only about 40 to 50 points. We're going to see the 1v1 happening around Corey. Unfortunately, the Mesmer going to be very, very low. Oh, quick shatter at the end is going to bring the Soul Beast down. He does need to be very careful. Downstate Ranger is going to be very, very dangerous. The pet's still going to be attacking him, but he gets the blink into the keel, and the Soul Beast might be about to be finished out here. He's in stealth. The auto attack's still coming. The pet res is here, though, and he has to be able to finish this kill now. He's going to rotation. Oh, but the downstate takes him down.
The Willbender moving in, though. Should be able to secure this, I think. Might be able to cleave that out. Yeah, it's going for it right now. The damage on that Willbender is huge.
Oh, he gets it.
And that's a big rally. But the blue team, they need to deal with them. They need to deal with this node to make sure that they don't end up losing it. Feet Sniffer X trying to hold on the Core Ranger in this 1v2 into the Necromancer and Warrior from the red team. I think this might have to be given up, though. There's no help in sight. Nearly pulling off a 1v2, though, actually. Is the Ranger doing an incredible job? Might be able to find that. Doesn't have any healing, though, for another few seconds. And that could be very dangerous for this Ranger. Can they try and hold on somehow? The engineer from the blue team has now returned. Oh
my god, he's so close to 100 in 1 second. Oh, he just doesn't get it off, unfortunately. But the Harbinger's very low. Going for the stomp now. Can he get the interrupt? He doesn't, unfortunately. That will be the rally for the Harbinger. All nodes going to be decapped. It's just a 7-point difference between these two teams. And now the Engie is going to have to pull off a similar feat to this Ranger. Trying to 1v2. He's having a little bit more trouble, though, unfortunately. And he's going to be brought down. How are the rest of the blue team faring on the other parts of the map?
Not good enough.
They're going to be pretty low here on mid.
They're just barely going to crumble, I'm afraid. Like, they managed an incredible comeback there. In fact, they were ahead for the game. Then the red team came back. Then the blue team came back again. But unfortunately, the red team... Well, unfortunately for blue team. Fortunately for red team, they're able to rally themselves, get that game back under control, and find themselves a victory.
And, you know, sometimes that's just how it goes. Very, very close, though. Either way, so we're love to see it, getting some nice, good, close matches there in the first round. But we are going to be going into the second round now. I believe that is the end of the first round, so we should be wrapping that up pretty soon. Yeah, we are going to be getting the next couple of matches here. So let's see if there's going to be any
any notable games here.
Team Copium versus Nico.
I think that might be the way. I think that may well be the way to go. Actually, Team Copium into the Ancient Contenders, I think, is probably the game that we want to look at.
We can take a peek into there on Revenge of the Capricorn. Now, there is the second Team Copium, of course. We'll have to see if which one is the real Copium. Looks like we are in the real Copium game, which is nice.
We are indeed. We are indeed.
Oh, yeah. Okay, so I did get into the other one. It wasn't a bug. It looks like there really is just two Team
okay.
Copiums.
Yeah, there's just two of them. Okay, great. Yeah, who's on that roster, actually? Who's the roster?
Ooh, okay. So there is... This is definitely an interesting one. There's a Harbinger named Cerno. Not too familiar with them. Okay. And a Spectre named High. But then we get into some interesting moments here. We got a Catalyst, Gelsine, the Catalyst, well-known player. Chunsu making a return on support Tempest.
Oh, interesting.
And coming over from the North American region again, it looks like North America really seeping into EU right now. Yeah. Roach got X on the Catalyst. AKA Jeffrey Jackson.
Yes, a very famous player. Should I say infamous, I suppose, in the
X-Pro
League scene. That's true. That is true, actually. But yeah, well, that's actually definitely a team to take a look at, actually, in that case, for sure. A lot of powerful players that can certainly challenge. Looks like EU is the place to be this time around. Okay, that double gold has baited everyone in. And in fact, you know, they've all been absorbed into the EU monthly automated tournament, apparently. But let's go ahead and get into this game. I have enabled my overlay, and I'm really hoping that it will actually work. But anyway, this, by the way, is a custom overlay developed by me and some other members of the Hard Suck team to try and make PvP a little bit more readable. So hopefully you guys all enjoy this, because I'm trying to make it work for the monthly automated tournaments as well as just custom tournaments. But anyway, walk us through the compositions here for these two teams. Like, what? This is a little bit unusual here from our red team here, the Ancient Contenders, I think.
Yeah, going not only one but two Mirages. Definitely not what you might expect to see. We were theorizing we might see a Mirage, a Mesmer in some of these teams, but going for the double, obviously Rip going to be very, very well known for it, but he's bringing in the one and only Tupac Shakur as well, making his way over from the hip-hop game to now the Guild Wars 2 game. And we will see Azurdome on the Deadeye coming in to put a little bit of pressure on mid, but it looks like a rotation from blue team to try to put some pressure on red team's home node. They're going to be sending 3 players over there. Red team going to be able to respond pretty quickly, though. And we are going to have a 3v3 brewing over here at the dock.
We absolutely are, and I think this is where those Spectres can really put in work, right? They just have the ability to apply shields to their allies so much. They're very mobile. They are great at single targeting, focusing down players, particularly the squishy Mirages, and we already see Rip go into the downstate. And yeah, there's a reason, I think, Roy, why players are going for this setup right now. It is pretty deadly. A good revive is being attempted, and of course, that bubble there was reflecting all projectiles, making it much harder for the blue team to pressure that, and they do get the revive. But despite that, look at the health bars for red team. Both Spocker and Rip so very low, committing a lot of their resources and cooldowns to getting that revival. And unfortunately, Spocker does end up falling there as well.
Yeah, I don't think we're going to be able to see them rally this time, so they are going to have to just give up potentially the middle node, although we are going to see contests still happening there, but obviously just spread out across the rest of the map. So far, the blue team's real strength is just coming from the fact they've been able to really shoehorn red into this side of the map, just holding onto the Bazaar node the entire time and completely preventing any pressure from going over there. We are going to see some movement, though, coming out now from Nico. He's going to be making his way on this Catalyst over to the far node of blue team, Bazaar, and he's going to be able to bring some players from blue team there, split them up a little bit more, and potentially give his team a chance to sort of breathe here. But Rip, unfortunately, going downstate now at his home node in this fight, that will prevent them from being able to take full advantage of that. However, a nice res coming out, the blink from downstate as well, and Tupac Shakur again, he does it. He's going to be able to get the res onto Rip, and they might be able to start fighting back into this as Azurdome is actually taking quite a bit of pressure as well.
Yeah, that revival ability there from the inspiration trait line, summoning the feedback when attempting to revive, really putting in the work there, shutting down a lot of pressure. But I think the problem is here for Red, they aren't able to really pressure their opponents that much. These thieves are so evasive and hard to keep a hold of that I think the composition from Red is struggling to keep up a little bit here. What do you think Red team needs to do to get back into this game? Because it's 3-102, Roy. There are definitely some problems here in this matchup.
Absolutely. I mean, the main thing I would say is that they kind of just got staggered a little bit off the start. They weren't expecting the cross from blue team, and that definitely slowed them down a little bit. I think as soon as they lost players, they really needed to try to regroup. I think, good call there from Nico, the catalyst on red team, to try and pull some players over the side, but then again, losing Rip there on home just continued to slow them down, and they haven't really been able to fully recover here. So one of the most important parts of playing PvP at a competitive level is recognizing when you need to kind of just stop, recover, regroup as a team, and then push back in. Because if one of your teammates dies or a couple of players dies around the map, and you say, all right, now I want to try to go get value elsewhere on the map, if you then die as well, it just continues that stagger. And so that's what we're seeing red team experience very hard here. Now, first Bell, the first map mechanic here, going to blue team. That's going to be an additional 25 points just straight up on the board for them. And it'll continue to increase this gap, well over 200 points now here for blue team. And red team finally are going to have all 5 of their players back up on the map as we see King Spaka coming in off respawn. But already Tupac Shakur is going to be under half health, pressured in this fight.
Yeah, I think they just don't really quite have enough damage here, really, to punch through. They're trying to find a kill on one of the Spectres. Can they find it? It's going to be difficult. They're trying to land a massive pull, a big crowd control on the Thief to try and control it, but the Thieves are just holding on so well. You might think that Thief, kind of a rogue-style profession in Guild Wars 2, would be squishy, but Guild Wars 2 does like to actually kind of mix things up a little bit. That's not always the case. Your usual class fantasy can actually vary in the way it is, and this Spectre has a lot of defensive capacity, using shadows to shield itself and allies as well. So it has that support there in addition to a good chunk of mobility. It's a bit of a monster. Who put this in the game?
Yes, as we continue on here, we're going to see, again, a couple of kills picked up. First King Spaka, now Rip, again going into downstate. And, you know, I think you said this yourself, there's not enough damage coming out of Red Team, unfortunately. Blue Team really able to find the pressure onto the targets. Spectre, it's not even so much that it's tanky, it just has a lot of ways to avoid taking damage. Certainly a lot of mobility, a very elusive class as well. And, of course, it is playing a pretty, tanky amulet with the carrion amulet there. So it is going to be just hard to bring down in general. But yeah, definitely I think trying to find a little bit better targets, maybe taking, a little bit more pressure on Azurdome. But one of the other things too is Red Team just doesn't have a lot of great classes to chase down targets as well as Blue Team does. They don't have the Power Herald. They're only playing one Thief. Obviously, the Mirages are going to be pretty mobile, but they're just not going to be able to keep up with the Thieves here and probably continue to output consistent pressure because of the condition amulet that the Thieves are running. So just a very, very difficult game for them. And I mean, even though we're seeing really good players on both of these teams, we are seeing one team just absolutely dominating them. I think just really based off of better play and Red Team unable to regroup since the first wipe.
Yeah, this essentially is, by the way, this blue team here is a very similar team to the team that won the last monthly. This is the team Copium that we were talking about a little bit earlier. So this is no surprise to see this team perform so well. And this is one of the things about Guild Wars 2 PvP, right? Where if you do simply outplay your opponent at every turn, even if your opponents are also good at the game, you can lock them out hard, right? You can absolutely crush teams, even if they're excellent players, if you play even better than them, right? It's a very skill-based, and also Spectre-based, apparently. But that's for another time. We'll be seeing some Spectre versus Spectre action a little bit later on. And, well, this game's ending, so we can maybe go ahead and hop into some of these other matches. Are there any ones that are actually a little bit closer we could maybe take a look at? Could be interesting to see. Let's see.
Let's take a look here. Third from the top Pella.
Yeah. I think that would be a game to go ahead and hop on into. Let's go to the Pella versus Dash Rider game.
Absolutely. I think one of the other important things to mention, actually, we'll talk about that in a second, is the Herald here. Condition Herald, it looks like. He's on Mallow, except that's going to be carrying Amulet, taking a lot of pressure here. Oh, 1 second away from his Glen Heal, but he's not going to be able to do it. I think we're going to see a Signet potentially coming out, though. And yeah, Rez is going to come through there from the Tempest. Nice air glyph coming out there on Blue Team. And now the counter pressure going to be turned around to the Red Team Herald. He's going to go into downstate. Don't think there's a support in range to help him. No, and in fact, the support going to be downstate himself. And we're going to see quite a couple of kills picked up here now for Blue Team.
Oh, yeah, that ride not quite going to come through. No way, actually. And the blue team able to cleave that out quite nicely. And a very close matchup, just a single point in it. Yes, I do want to just quickly reiterate, by the way, actually, that matches in Guild Wars 2, when the teams are of even skill, often are extremely, extremely close. It's just that early on in the tournament, you tend to get a few mismatches with some teams who are extremely experienced against some slightly less experienced teams. But games like this are actually extremely common within PvP. And in fact, Blue Team immediately turn it around after losing some of their players. They're already back and an insane rally. This Herald was on 1% in downside, but actually gets back up as Con McGregor is eliminated. However, Red Team are coming off respawn here, looking to try and find that kill, but Blue really get back in this by eliminating the Spectre on this powerful secondary objective. The Bell, capturing this grab is more and more points every time you capture it, and Blue Team going to be able to get that lined up there as they pick up another kill on the Blaze one and grab the Bell for 25 points. Next time it will be 50. It's an incredibly important objective, and the Blue Team in a great position here, particularly if they can find another kill. They need to not lose their Blade Swan, though.
Absolutely. It's pretty interesting. It looks like we actually saw the first bell of the game. Well, we didn't see it, but previously go the way of Red Team. But we'll hold that thought for a second, as a Signet coming out here now for the downstated Herald from Red Team is going to be good, so they might be able to swing this fight back around. Not a lot of support coming out for the Herald, though the Core Guardian, unfortunately, just not in a great position with cooldowns to do so. And the quick follow-up downstate onto the Herald is going to keep Blue Team in this fight with the double cap going after that Bell. Almost 100-point lead very quickly now, so they are going to start really turning on the gas. Mars now, the Spectre here for Red Team, taking quite a bit of pressure. He's kind of isolated out here from the rest of his team, away from his support, who's on the node currently, not getting the heals that he currently needs. Does have a blink to potentially get out, but I'm not sure he's going to be able to do so. We are going to see Shimbu, coming in here now to try and continue to support Mars. But the pressure from Blue Team is so good that Deadeye now putting quite a bit of pressure on him. We are going to see a downstate elsewhere on the map from Blue Team, but fortunately, that's too far away to really help Mars, and he will be going into downstate now. No Signet available as it was used quite previously, and so Shmoob can't really do anything except just watch from the bushes as his Thief gets cleaved out.
Yeah, there you go. Mars has been taken out, and blue team really keeping control here. Like, the value of eliminating a thief is absolutely massive, as mobility and being able to control the map is essential in Guild Wars 2 PvP. And yeah, that Revenant, obviously not an ideal thing to lose here. It's never good to die in the video game. Obviously, that's not where you want to be. But I think blue team kind of getting the better end of that trade there for sure, and maintaining this lead, and already the Revenant back, pushing onto the map, while the Elementalists from blue team also capturing this middle node, and they've got themselves a good advantage. I think the really big deciding factor of this game, well, if this Rev just dies for free, that's actually quite bad, actually. Conor McGregor obliterates with that massive burst damage from the Dragon Hunter, but this Bell could well be the deciding for this game. It's 50 points apiece, I believe, for each of these teams, so they certainly want to fight over this, and I believe that the winner of that Bell may be in the position to actually win the game, regardless of who it is, as it will be a big comeback move for Red. Ooh, sneaky decap here, though, from the Thief.
Yeah, really nice job from this Deadeye right after the Bladesworn from Red Team was able to get the cap. But again, we'll hold off on that in a second, as the Dragon Hunter is going to be taken out very, very quickly. And unfortunately, again, we see the Guardian not in a position to get the Signet as it's still on cooldown. There's going to be a team fight. There are going to be respawns coming out from Blue Team as well, so it's not over for Red Team yet if they continue to contest this. But they do now have to be careful, because they're going to lose their only node on the map. Mars going to be under a lot of pressure. Signet's still going to be at least 5 seconds away from being back available. So Mars, if he goes down right now, he might not be able to get a Signet out for him. Deadeye going to be porting onto him, trying to find that kill on to the Spectre. However, Red Team going to be putting a little bit of counter pressure back onto the bust of Blue Team. They're still outnumbered here as the Dragon Hunter's coming in off of respawn, and the Herald was able to get to it. Only node on the map is going to be taken for Blue Team over at mid right now, is the Bell fight still going on. The Core Guardian now, the support here for Red Team, still taking quite a bit of pressure. Red Team putting themselves onto the node, into the damage. Dragon Hunter's back, but already under half health. Mars still so desperately low off to the side, and he's going to unfortunately be taken out by the Deadeye here, so he's not going to be able to help his team. I don't know if they're going to try and go for it. It doesn't look like they're going to try and get over to Mars to go for the Signet. They're just going to continue to contest this, but unfortunately, even though they're doing an okay job of holding onto this node, they're still losing the map and still losing points the whole time.
Yeah, it was a very impressive hold by Red, I have to say, but it does look it may well be in vain. In fact, as Conor McGregor goes down, there is a revival coming through. It does land. I think Red Team is in a bit of a desperate situation. They just don't seem equipped to take this fight. Really, I think the team fighting power, taking this massive engagement, it just simply favors the Blue Team. And yeah, Blue Team now, they finally break through. They're going to get through that, and they're going to pick up 3 kills. Seal the Bell, and that's going to seal the game, as that's going to put them to 480 points. And even though they are losing their middle node right now, so they're not going to win immediately, picking up the remaining kills and grabbing a single node will very quickly put them into the winning position that they've been working towards for a long time, and they're going to be picking up the win in this game and moving on to the next round of Swiss. So will the other team, actually.
Yeah, it looks like Red Team might have had a chance there for a little bit, but unfortunately, with good map rotations, good team fights, and good Bell acquisition,
yes,
Blue Team able to emerge victorious.
Yeah, you know, I think that is actually the last game, I believe. I think we're going on to the next round. Pretty fast game so far, actually. These are intense. But yeah, there we go. I think they're just moving over. Let's see if we can have a look at something here. We have a very interesting matchup, I believe, Roy. We have a Kimbo mode, the French team that we haven't actually seen yet, versus Team Copium. Some of the top teams in the game. Some would even perhaps predict that as the finals. There
is Zintrix versus the other Team Copium. Do we know which Team Copium is the original Team Copium?
I believe Steaming Hot Babes is the tournament that the winners of the last tournament. So I believe this is the, I guess, correct Team Copium, as it were.
I believe you are correct. All right. So we are going to see some Spectre on Spectre action, I think.
Yes, we are. Oh, what a map for it as well. It is the Skyhammer. This will be a very, very interesting one, I believe. So tell us a little bit about Skyhammer, Roy. Like, why was I entertained by this match being on this map?
Well, Skyhammer has been notorious for a very long time in Guild Wars 2. It can have some interesting, has an interesting map mechanic where, you know, partway through the game and throughout the rest of the game as well, a portal appears that players can enter for control of a massive cannon that rains down from the sky, decapping any nodes that you don't own, or rather that are owned by your opponents, as well as doing massive damage to anyone on the node, anyone in that area. And it quite often happens that teams that are ahead end up throwing the game because they overcommit or they lose fights on Skyhammer. And so it really actually is a very scary map in a lot of ways for teams. It also tends to be a little bit slower in terms of point gain. A lot of Skyhammer games tend to go to timer just because of the nature of the map. All of the nodes have a ton of kiting spots. There's a lot of, there's jump pads at all the nodes that you can jump up and avoid a lot of damage, kite people around, so it is a little bit slower. But it does also end up leading to some very interesting gameplay, some very interesting 1v1s, 1vx's, 2v2s, team fights, etc. So certainly an exciting map, but an interesting one to see how these teams decide to play around it. And we are going to see 5 Spectres in this game, 3 here for the blue team, 2 for the red team.
6 Thieves.
So we'll have to see if that Deadeye from Azurdome is going to be able to take down the Spectres of the French. Stealth coming out abound, and both teams just silently passing each other.
I think this could end up being, it has a potential to be a significantly longer game than the ones we've seen so far, actually. When you add more mobility into a fight, it's going to involve a lot of rotation, a lot of moving around the map, and decapturing objectives, recapturing objectives, disengaging, re-engaging. Although, having said that, we already have a kill picked up. That Deadeye, just so much damage output. And that certainly is the advantage of the Deadeye being played here by the red team. This very much the sniper class in Guild Wars 2, doing massive damage from a long range and can be very difficult to get away from. In fact, in the last match, we saw the Spectre really struggled to actually get away from the grasp of the Deadeye.
Azurdome doing a nice job jumping up these rocks to get some line of sight on to Goku, the blue team Spellbreaker. Excuse me, Bladesworn that we're taking a look at right here. And yes, already red team taking a big win off of that initial kill. Spectre just coming in off of respawn. So we are going to see the 2v2 now for real this time instead of the outnumbered fight. We'll have to see if red team are going to be able to continue to hold on to point A, but no, quick contest, or excuse me, decap. And right now, red team are going to have to look for some points elsewhere, but look at that! They get both mid and C.
Yeah, and red team honestly doing a very, very good job so far. Just that initial extra bit of control they have, and honestly, just taking their matchups a little bit better here. The Spectre trying to 1v1 into the Catalyst. The Catalyst, the Elementalist build here, extremely powerful. And the player playing it as well, a very high-tier player. Grimjack from the NA server, one of the top Catalysts in the world. More than capable of handling that 1v1 situation there. And in fact, I've got to say, this is really not looking good whatsoever for the blue team. They don't seem to be finding much. Having said that, actually, we do now see a kill coming through onto the Bladesworn of the red team. That's actually a really important kill. Bit of an anchor, bit of a rock to have on your team there. A bit of a roadblock, as it were. And in fact, now we are seeing... Look, why do I even bother trying to make calls here? It was looking really bad, but now actually it's looking okay. Yeah, I have cursed the red team in their entirety as they completely crumble. They're a little bit losing both their Bladesworn and the Spectre. But now we need to see blue team actually convert this into some kind of control. Like losing a Spectre of their own here would certainly be a little bit dangerous and be very unfortunate, but there's some good kiting here, and that may be revival as there are a large amount of the blue team still around here.
They're going to actually find a kill after losing a couple of their own players. Just, again, that awesome pressure there from Azurdome on this Deadeye, and Esprit trying to go for that res, but it's not going to happen. Azurdome actually might find the kill himself onto Esprit. Esprit's so very low, having to port away. Azurdome doing an excellent job keeping the pressure onto these Spectres. Maybe Deadeye is the real meta Thief spec here.
It's true. I think like everyone's going, oh yeah, 3 Spectres, but honestly, maybe 2 Spectres, 1 Deadeye. But yeah, that's so much damage. Another Spectre goes down. Oh, and yeah, the hunt is on. Oh, and that Deadeye cannot possibly... Double Spectre comes through. And yeah, of course, that is kind of the price you pay, right? Like, what is Deadeye in this situation? Basically, it's trading survivability for just massive all-out damage. Right? That's what that build is. So, of course, if you can pull it off, you are going to decimate your opponents. However, you can get caught out and punished for that if things don't go your way. But things are really heating up in this matchup right now. Red team still maintaining a lead. We have the secondary objective of the Skyhammer coming through. It was captured by blue, so that will actually reset point A. And therefore, the map is technically in blue team's favor. They're obviously going to want to push an additional node. Catalyst grabbing back point A here, but the Bladesworn is pushing in to contest that. I think this is actually a good matchup here. I think at the start of this game, we saw red team have the superior matchups. But now I think we're seeing blue kind of come into their own here and start to take some really good fights there. And this is exactly what they need to keep doing. See if they can find some more kills. But one of their Spectres is dangerously low and is going to go downside there. So blue team struggling to maintain the momentum they've got here.
Yeah, it's just so difficult when it's so easy to move around the map and kind of surprise your enemies, surprise your opponents where you're going to end up staying. There's so much stealth access right now. There's so much mobility for most of these classes that they can get out and really end up anywhere. But yeah, again, we're going to see nice pressure coming out here from red team. Mistform going to be coming into downstate and they get the res there with that Spectre trait. So he's going to be able to get back up. But again, the pressure going to be on. They're going to continue to try and find it. Azurdome now, though, the Deadeye here for red team, going to be taking a little bit of pressure himself. In stealth is going to be able to potentially reset. Goes for a steal now. and a port here on to the Catalyst, trying to get some damage out onto him. We're going to see Vertigo there as well, but I just don't know if Red Team are going to be able to find a target like they were earlier. Grimjack now under a ton of pressure at point A, trying to hold on to this 1v2. He's going to need a plus very soon, or this node is going to turn into a double cap here very, very quickly for blue team.
And there it is. So blue team, they're probably going to get themselves back to point parity with that. Now, I think the problem is the Catalyst will eventually be able to get rid of the Spectre. The Spectre doesn't really want to take that 1v1 terribly, although Grimjack is very low on cooldown, so he can't be super aggressive just yet. On the other side, we also see a Spectre go down here as well, so we can probably see a rotation from the blue team to assist the Spectre into the Catalyst and potentially even go for a kill. But oh, here we go. Here comes the Deadeye to take into this 1v2 over here.
Yeah, and I actually really like the position here from Azure. He went to the jump pad before he started, coming out of stealth and engaging onto the Spectre, just to prevent him from being able to immediately go and jump up that upper platform. So nice positioning there from Azure, and that's going to be a quick kill picked up onto the Spectre.
Yeah.
Again, Azure, the Spectre hunter so far, but that's obviously a nice pickup here for Red Team, but they've lost the rest of the map. We are going to see the rest of the Thieves as well as the Blade Swarm moving back towards point C. Maybe that's going to be where they're going to try and get into. But either way, a close game. Red Team trailing a little bit behind after that early lead. Blue Team doing a nice job of holding on to them. Almost gets the decap, is going to be Azure, but Blue Team going to be able to pour it on there and stop him from being able to do that. Skyhammer coming up now. We'll have to see if either team is going to be able to find an advantage through the map mechanic.
Yeah, let's see. The fight is going to initiate over here. The Blades One's position in a spree, actually taking a huge amount of damage initially. Of course, there's no dedicated support in this game like we saw previously with the Guardian and the Tempest. So it is a little bit more volatile in that sense. It's harder to resustain. It's harder to recover because of that lack of healing coming through there. So both teams a little bit non-committal here. Looks like we are going to see Blue go for a kill. They pick up one Spectre. There it is. We are going to see that kill come through. Blades One in a huge amount of trouble in a 1v3. Red Team almost already trying to disengage away, but that Blades One is in so much trouble. Will the conditions end up ticking down? Can this warrior somehow survive? No, I don't think so. And another pretty big victory there for Blue. They're slowly building up their advantage here. They should be able to get the Skyhammer with the Catalyst slowly capturing that. Can the red team make the intercept? There's a very cheeky stealth revive coming from Asdom. Oh no! Is it going to be interrupted? It is. A spray does notice that, so that should deny that. And the Skyhammer does go to Blue. And Blue team, I think, slowly finding their hold in this game. I think with that kill, they should be able to secure themselves a double cap again and start to build up a major advantage. Red team now need to make a really big play, I think. What do you think they can do here? Like, what is blue team doing? They're just shutting down red a little bit.
We haven't seen them staggered as badly as we saw the last team, obviously. And, of course, just the nature of the map is going to allow them to... Well, we see a nice kill picked up there. Just going to pause for a second. Azure doing a nice job of getting that kill. And that's kind of where I think they need to play through. They really have to play through Azure. He's the strength of this team. He's the one that's finding most of these kills. Almost every kill we've seen for Red Team so far has been from Azure. He's making these kills happen. And so playing through him is going to be very, very important for Red Team. And they've done a pretty good job of it in one half of the map. But then the other half of their map kind of just crumbles when Blue Team is able to play around him and rotate the rest of their players around this Deadeye. And so if they can avoid enough of the pressure from Azure, Blue Team has an advantage. Red Team really have to try to play to that strength of Azure, of this Deadeye, and so far we see them choosing to do so by trying to get a spree down here. Now at point A, they're putting a lot of pressure onto him, but we are going to start to see the catalyst of Grimjack, the Earth Abide, starting to take quite a bit of damage himself. It looks like they should be able to get the kill first on to a spree, but that barrier just keeping him alive, that shroud keeping him tanky. But oh, look at the barrier on Grimjack himself, and a spree still on 1 HP this entire time, somehow still surviving. These players jumping all over the place. I cannot believe he's still alive. Azure just unable to bring him down. He ports onto him. Grimjack maybe going to go down himself. The spree still hanging on, just clinging on. Grimjack gets on top, but now, Aoni, the Spectre, going to be potentially going into downstate as Grimjack goes down too. Are we going to be able to see the Thief revive? No, we're not. Unfortunately, I think that's going to be a lost team fight for Red.
That is what an absolutely insane fight there. An incredible hold there by a spree. The revive does come through on Grimjack as the blue team were really surging towards the spectacle. They are able to find that. They should be able to confirm that. Getting that revive is really, really good, but the node is still in possession of the blue team. But during all of that chaos, we do actually see another kill come through there, but the rally. They get that rally, but Red team do actually have map advantage, so blue need to break out in there. They are getting slowed down in their progress around that, and they're still quite pressured. The Deadeye, again, just doing so much work here. But blue do need to actually get rid of those nodes. They're potentially looking to do it through the Skyhammer.
Yeah, absolutely. And Red Team throughout that entire time held on to the double cap, so that's really important. And I think that was a really big shift from what we've seen previously, where almost all of the players were on that fight right around point A, and they actually get a decap there, really nicely done from Red Team. So even though Red Team, effectively lost that fight, losing 2 players, ending up getting 1 res, Aoni, the other Spectre here, so for Thiefgo, ending up getting cleaved out there. They lost the fight, but they didn't lose the map, and that's very, very important. And they're able to, regain a huge amount of points from that. And we actually see Spree now finally brought down. We thought it was impossible, but he can die. He is not immortal over at the Skyhammer. So Red Team potentially going to get the Skyhammer for the first time this game. However, Aoni going to be very low himself. Needs to be careful around here. They don't want to lose a player very quickly. Is Blue Team going to engage him very hard? He is going to be brought down by the 4 players here from Blue Team, but the rest of Red actually coming in. This is going to be every single player on the map on this node right now.
Let's see if this kill is going to come through there. Blue Team trying to converge on it. I think they have the clean, but actually they're going to lose the rally there because there was another kill onto the Blades on a Blue. And Red Team now in a fantastic position to clean up this fight here as they've got a big outnumber. Yeah, Blue, wisely though, they're going to say, yeah, we're just going to get out. Of course, the Skyhammer isn't really the end of the world for them. They aren't going to lose any of their nodes because they don't have any. They can just be a little bit annoying and try to delay that, but Red Team now back in the advantage here, 340 to 313. 4 minutes left on the clock as well. That's worth noting. That's certainly going to be something that, that both teams have got to consider. Blue managed to get one on the board, but they might be about to lose another one of their Spectres, and that is not what you want at this stage in the game. They need to hold on to all of their players, otherwise they're going to find themselves in an insurmountable disadvantage.
Yeah, absolutely. And, the last few moments, we see Azurdome just doing a lot of work, keeping the pressure onto these Spectres. He's really stopping them from being able to move as freely as maybe they're used to. Obviously, though, there are 3 of them, and he can't handle 3 on his own. So it's not going to be over just yet, but as you mentioned, under 4 minutes left. Double cap again coming out for Red Team off of the back of that Skyhammer victory. So, it's looking very good for Red Team. It's about a 50-point lead for them now, but we still have 3.5 minutes left or so. Decap comes out now. Red Team are going to have to still hold on for a few moments more before this victory is theirs. Blue Team looking to come back in. Drace now going to be a little bit low across the map. Azurdome still on the hunt. Great CC from him, but he's going to be able to evade a little bit of damage, but it doesn't matter. It's not going to be enough. And again, a kill going to be picked up. And now Grimjack is going to need some help from his Thieves. He's going to be very, very low in this 1v1 against the Bladesworn. Too little, too late, though, for the rotations for Red Team, as they're going to lose their Catalyst at point A. And just like that, they get a kill on the map, but the nodes are not in their favor, and Blue Team finds sides.
Yeah, that's good. They did achieve, yeah, they get rid of Grimjack here as well. They are going to lose a player of their own, so it's going to be a 4v4 on map temporarily. Again, the Blue Team has players positioned in a good way, though, right? They have a really big hold on C and on point A. Skyhammer is a massive issue, though, forcing the Warrior to rotate over there to contest that. And they end up losing this fight. A Spree the Doggo in the downstate. Blue Team, they really want to revive that, but no, I think the damage is far too much. This is a very precarious situation for both teams here. Blue going to find themselves an advantage here. Let's see, we have the player, of course, coming off respawn here. Grimjack on the Earth Abides here on Catalyst. We'll be able to position on this node, but Blue have now made it even. If this node does get captured by Red, that actually won't be enough as 1 cap each, right? Like, Blue will still be ahead by just a few points there. Wow, this is a real razor edge game. Like, the next couple of kills are going to be extremely important.
Next couple of kills, but also the next couple of caps, and I think Skyhammer, this is probably the most important Skyhammer of the game, and we're already seeing Red Team with an advantage here. We see the connection found under the Bladesworn here from Blue Team. He's going to be brought into downstate and almost immediately cleaved out. Very nice cleave from Red Team, where you wouldn't necessarily expect it, but a return kill now onto the Red Team Bladesworn. Blue Team going to be putting some pressure onto that. We're going to see if Red Team can try to find a res or at least counter pressure. Spree already going to be a little bit low on that. They're still holding on to the res. We see Aoni doing a great job of holding on to that res, but the pressure, they're going to be really good from Spree. He's going to port back in. A lot of really low players here. Azurdome, Aoni, both going to be very, very low. The Bladesworn gets cleaved out and taken out, but a Spree's going to fall himself. And what a catastrophe here for both of these teams on Skyhammer. It's so close, a 10-point difference, but now we're going to see Remy going to downstate. The final Spectre here from Red Team, excuse me, he's going to go down. Azurdome, so low. Oh, no! Down. He can't get out of the portal. Oh, no! And I think that might just be it. Blue Team cleaning up house on Skyhammer, taking points off of the board from these kills. No! We're going to see Grimjack now fall, and that looks like it's probably going to be GG Blue Team winning it out here on Skyhammer.
Now, that was an absurd comeback in that fight, Roy. Losing a player early on, getting a counter kill, losing another player again, getting 3 more counter kills. What an insane fight. Blue, keep calm and make it work, Saman. Yeah, those 5 points coming from those kills, incredibly valuable, of course. And with a minute left on the board, grabbing that Skyhammer, they should have secured themselves this game, getting another kill as well. A bit of a desperation move from Red, trying to somehow find the decapture. And it looks like they will be able to do that. But of course, point C grabbed there by the Blue Team. They quickly rotated away from that Skyhammer, and they make it work. And I think that is going to be a big one. But bear in mind, it is worth talking about the format of this tournament. The losing team, the defeated party, is not out. So the first stage of this tournament is basically teams play against loads of different teams in each round. It kind of rotates around a little bit. And then at the end, the top X-rated teams, it could be 16, it could be 8 top teams, will then go into an elimination bracket. So red team is not out. They will have the opportunity, or very likely they will, to get their revenge against the blue team later on in the tournament.
Yeah, absolutely. But yeah, really, really good match. And hey, I think we're going to beat the timer. We are by 7 seconds there. So blue team, a little bit of back and forth. And just remember, blue team started that game off, I want to say like 70 points down, which isn't the biggest number on most maps, but on Skyhammer, that's a significant amount of time. And if you look at the timeline, these score lines were so close throughout that whole game. That was a great match to watch, honestly.
Yeah,
really well played from both teams.
Yeah.
I'm looking forward to seeing more from these teams. And yeah, I think just like Teapot said, we're probably almost certainly going to see both those teams in the elimination stage just because they lose there in that third Swiss round. I don't think either one of them are going to be out. So yeah, great stuff from both those teams. Very exciting. And I'm also really just excited to see how they perform on maps that aren't Skyhammer, because I really think Skyhammer just throws teams a lot of the time. Yeah, it's a weird map, exactly. But here we go. Ooh, we're gonna see a Kimbo mode versus Barcode now on Forest.
Ooh, yeah,
following Kimbo mode.
Certainly an interesting one there as well. We could also look at the Syndrana team as well versus Team Copium, although that's actually the other Team Copium actually. So I'm not sure how that game would actually end up going. Let's actually see what we've. Let's see what we've got, some of these matchups here. Yeah, we could follow a Kimbo mode here. I think that Barcode might have a little bit of difficulty against them, but I think it could certainly be a good match. What are you thinking, Roy? What do we want to do?
I would say either this game or we could go look at Team Copium, the original Team Copium versus Zintrex. That could also be a decent one. One of those two, I think, would probably be the way to go.
Yeah, I think I'm going to go ahead and go into other Team Copium here and see how this team ends up faring, actually. So we'll look at Team Copium, the Ultra Cuties, I believe. Okay. Versus Syndra. I think that is going to be the game.
Sounds good to me.
And actually, while we're waiting for the game to start in just a few moments, we're on another map again. Of course, each round is going to be a different map to keep things a little bit fresh. Gives a quick introduction, okay, to this map, Forest of Niflheim, which is, and I think a lot of people would say, the classic Guild Wars 2, the quintessential PvP map for Guild Wars 2.
Yeah, it's one of the classic map for sure. It's sort of, considered the most neutral map. So, some maps, as we saw, previously, well, actually, we haven't seen Colosseum yet, but like maps like Colosseum can favor certain team comps over another. Maps like Kylo or Legacy can favor certain team comps. So like a lot of times, you might see a team comp that heavily favors team fighting and rotating around supports and stuff, and team fight DPS working a little bit better on Kylo and Legacy, and then the opposite, more rotational, more side node based comps working really well on maps like Colosseum. This map's a little bit more neutral. And of course, just, winning a game off of stealing the enemy team's beast is, of course, just a classic Guild Wars 2 gamer move. Not sure if we'll see that here. It doesn't always happen. But when it does, it's very exciting. Either way, though, definitely a cool match to see. Blue team, a last-minute pickup team with some excellent players on it, versus red team, a little bit more of a, solid team. But we'll have to see how it goes. Forest of Niflheim for the first time in this tournament.
Indeed. We see a few different builds here as well. We see a double Catalyst for red team and a Necromancer, the Harbinger, which fell out of favor a little bit, but is certainly a build that still exists around the place within the metagame. And of course, a Harbinger on blue team as well, and a Herald Revenant. But actually, I was trying to do some introduction here, but the red team just completely died.
Yeah, blue team cleaning up house over mid. However, they do lose a little bit of pressure over at the mine node. Riken going to be taking quite a bit of damage, but Sind with a nice rotation and also a nice name. I do like the fact that he is actually just called Syndrenner. Makes it easy to call him out there. So very, very cool. We're going to see Tinrog, aka Gornet. If anyone doesn't know, that is Gornet backwards. It took me a few years to figure that one out, but he's going to make his rotation over from mid as well. And so far, blue with a very dominant start here in this map, picking up several kills, getting a couple of nodes. It looks like Floor is going to be able to win that node as well over at Henge. And well done here from blue team so far to bring it out. Red team with a regroup. Respawns coming in here now. We're going to see a bit of a team fight coming through.
Yeah, we absolutely are then. It is going to be on red team's home ground, and they will have a slight outnumber while the Blade Sworn is rotating over. So I expect to see blue team just posture a little bit here and not commit to the fight until they have an even 5, if they want to take the fight, of course. I think it'll be quite common to maybe see the teams try to almost split up to defuse it. Team fights can be super volatile, so in a way a little bit risky, and that is actually what blue team is opting to do. They're simply going to pull back and try to play the more rotational game rather than converting the game into a team deathmatch. And red team almost feels like they're not entirely sure what to do here. They're hanging back a little bit. They pushed a Catalyst forwards, so they looks like they're going to try to play this middle node, but a Necromancer already crossing the map as well, so the next set of rotations are coming through. Let's see actually how they end up working out. Spectre's just doing their thing, beating down this Catalyst, but the support Tempest will now be moving in there to actually help out and make sure this doesn't go down there. With all shouts, in fact. Only shouts.
Only shouts. That is really interesting because, you know, you'd think if you're going to run a support in this meta, and we see a lot of teams opting not to. In fact, we see most teams not. And ooh, that might be one of the reasons why, as Shansu going to get deleted, chunked, in fact. And yeah, not running res utility, which I think is one of the strongest reasons, you know, biggest factors in running a support, is very, you know, it's an interesting call. It might just be because he wants that extra sustain throughout the fight. It might be he wants the extra self-sustain throughout the fight as well. Unfortunately, not quite enough as we saw, and I think not running Earthshield too is probably a bit of a misplay there. Going to be a huge boon in keeping himself alive.
And others, of course, as well. You know, you can share the Earthshield with your friends. A very potent piece of utility. Yeah, certainly an interesting choice here. And I think support right now in general, it is quite difficult to get value out of it, particularly when you're dealing with so many thieves, because it's just super hard to keep up with the extreme mobility being delivered by a lot of the classes in the metagame right now. And yeah, another kill does come through. Red doing a good job of actually holding on. They grab one of those beast kills over there that gives them a few points, but in a way here, the score is very deceiving in my opinion, because they need to figure out how they're going to win fights, right? You can capture all the beasts you want and maybe hold a single node for a good chunk of the game, but that is not going to win you the game. You need to be able to actually get a few kills at least, or somehow win a fight. And so far, it's all going towards the blue team in that direction.
Yeah, it also really just doesn't seem like Red Team is playing around their comp very well. Kind of like you mentioned, you know, they've got this Tempest, which even if it's not running res utility, is going to be a support. It's not a side noder. It's not really DPS. They've got this Harbinger, which you would expect to see running around with this Tempest a lot. You know, the support Necro duo, although not necessarily as meta right now with Harbinger, you know, the classic combo. But you also have two side noders, two dedicated side noders here from, you know, the Catalyst, although they are running, you know, maybe a little bit heavier on the DPS build. Maybe just, you know, that's what they want to run classically. But either way, it just doesn't seem like they're really playing around this comp very much. They're kind of all, I think, doing their own thing. They do seem a little bit disconnected. And Blue Team, even though, again, we mentioned a couple of times, they're more of a pickup group, a last-minute group here, they definitely just seem to be rotating very well, you know, really relying on that many years of game knowledge and experience, and leveraging that fact to, well, now turn this into a triple cap, turn it into a 200-point lead, and we're seeing very, very few cracks in the armor of Blue Team.
Yeah, I think just a cleaner execution of the PvP game mode of Conquest from Blue here. I think they're playing their composition, their strategy very, very well. It's working out extremely well for them. I think it's going to be very interesting to see how they end up playing into the triple Spectre compositions that we're going to see later on. They only have two. I mean, that's nothing almost. In that regard, so it'll be very interesting to see that dynamic. But yeah, I completely agree with your analysis there. Like, Red Team just almost kind of falling into the classic mentality of pretending this is a game of ranked, and perhaps not quite having the level of synergy and coordination and strategy required to defeat a team of the caliber of Blue here. And I think this will be more or less the last fight that's going to mean anything here. And Blue Team already very far ahead. We have the support already downstated here. Red Team incredibly pressured, forced to disengage. I think this will just essentially be the cleanup here from Blue, and they're going to go ahead and take this game.
Yeah, and, you know, I think, you know, one other thing to note as well, we haven't really seen Blue Team challenged in this match so far. I would say, you know, if they were losing every team fight, let's say that Red Team's comp was working a little bit more how, you know, on paper you would kind of expect it to work, and they were winning all these team fights, they were, you know, farming kills. I still think Blue Team, because of, you know, who's on this team, Syndrenner, Gornet, Boyce, Floor, Riken, all very, very competent players in their own right. I think they'd be able to rotate around Red Team, you know, after they lose a fight or two and say, all right, listen, we're not winning these team fights. We just need to, you know, find some kills, pick some kills on the map, and just rotate around these nodes. I think we would still see them on top either way, but Red Team aren't even really, again, playing to the strengths of their comp. They're not playing through this Tempest at all. And again, the Tempest running, you know, some interesting utility choices. So definitely need to go back to the drawing board, because these are good players on a Red Team too. It's, you know, we shouldn't, you know, just shove that aside. Chunsu, he's won several monthly automated tournaments. You know, he's definitely a very competent player. Same thing with Jeff, Gelsine, very, very well-known player in the scene. So I think definitely have to figure things out a little bit there. A little bit of a disconnect, like I mentioned before. But either way, that is going to be Syndrenner, Indecipherable, leading his ranked 22nd team to victory here.
I think it's definitely time to take a look at the Akimbo mode versus the Barcode game, actually. You know, I was perhaps a little bit incorrect in my assessment of this matchup. I was certainly expecting a Kimbo
I'm right,
mode
you're
to
wrong,
do...
it's normal.
Yeah, okay, I get it. As in fact, they are in a very close matchup here with just 375 points to 273, and they just found 2 kills in a very quick, decisive 3v2 kill here on middle. If they can actually convert this into a little bit more map control, they can find themselves into a winnable position. It looks like they did lose a lot of ground in the early game, but have actually managed to muster a very respectable comeback. Oh, there's a bit of trouble here on this Herald there. The Herald trying to hold on this kind of weird bunkery build as best as they possibly can. Does a good job of it. Red team, though, now are back and fully enabled with all of their 5 players. So if they can get a bit of control back in this game, then they should be able to find themselves a victory. But yeah, Blue, this is good. This is definitely a good potential comeback move.
Yeah, good rotation there from Blue Team, realizing that the Herald was in trouble and losing the node. They unfortunately give up mid, though. Demolish not going to be there in time to follow his spree off of Henge and get that, or prevent that decap, excuse me. So Red Team now going to continue to take, and Blue Team now going to be forced into a very dangerous position. They have to play very seriously for all 3 nodes instead of being able to hold on to 2. 100-point difference, though, is not insurmountable. Both beasts available if it comes to that. We're going to see mid still going to be kind of the point of contestation. This Thief being so annoying over at Henge, though, it's really forcing Enigma to question whether or not he can leave this Herald to 1v1, or if he needs to get back into the rest of this map to help his team. And I think they need him, because that's a lot of damage you're missing if you have that untamed kind of stuck in that fight. And a spree bursting so hard there as Enigma ports in on top of him, but he's going to be able to sustain and get out of trouble for now. Red Team, Blue Team have to get a decap. They have to find some pressure onto this middle node fight, and they have to find it fast.
Yeah, they absolutely do, and they do have the DPS here, I think, but it will take them a little while to break through there. Is that triple Spectre we have on middle? I believe it is. That's going to be difficult, and of course, a massive amount of condition bridge. That Untamed, honestly doing a great job of hunting down these thieves, though. Extremely well. Enigma landing a great crowd control. The Shroud being burnt through very quickly, but there's a lot of pressure. That Herald really struggling to survive it, trying to hold as best as they possibly can. The healing is pretty good, I think, currently for the Revenant, but they've got to break through. And unfortunately, one of the thieves actually went for the disengage and just tries to slow this game down even further by moving over to the Henge, and that's going to force the Blades one to very slowly move over. Harbinger on the other side of the map, incredibly low as well, trying to hold them, but not quite able to do so. And yeah, we have the Red Spectre Dre stargazing. It's a quick pick off there as the Harbinger attempts to rotate towards that middle node, but unfortunately, it's not going to be enough. I believe Red Team have just about found their victory here, as I think there's simply not enough potential here to neutralize the map for Blue anymore. But a very spirited and very, very good performance here from the Blue Team, from Team Barcode. Like, certainly demonstrating that they have continued to practice and improve since the community events. And, you know, I think they're a real force to be reckoned with in the tournament. I can't wait to see their other matchups later on down the line. But this is going to be a victory for Akimbo mode.
Absolutely, and obviously we didn't see, the beginning of this match through to the end. We came in about halfway through there, so can't comment exactly what went wrong, but I would probably, guess that Blue Team just wasn't able to find enough kills throughout the game to really get value. Obviously, the ability of, or the advantage of having 3 thieves in your team is it makes it very easy to rotate around the map and get decaps. Even if you are losing fights, it can slow down those fights a lot for your team if need be. And we saw that at the end there when there were 3 Spectres on mid and then 1 left to decap Henge, and the 2 were able to just continue kind of to troll on mid, outnumbered. So, yeah, I think, definitely probably Red Team there needed to, or excuse me, Blue Team rather, Barcode needed to get a little bit more pressure, on those players, find some more kills. Kind of like how we saw Azurdome doing on Skyhammer, really doing a nice job of finding those kills. But yeah, obviously, hopefully see some more good things from Barcode in the future. And are we done with round, what was that, round 3?
I believe the round should be ending just about now, yeah. Yep,
was that the 4th round?
I think it was the 3rd round, right?
Oh, no, I believe that was 4, right? Because we've seen Skyhammer, Capricorn, Forest, and Legacy. That was round 4, yes. This is round 5.
Here's a fun one. It's going to be we have a lot of choices here. Okay, I'm going to trust you this time. Okay, you're making the call this time. We have Akimbo mode versus Syndrome, rank 22 dragons. Or we have a choice of Team Barcode versus Steaming Hot Babes, Team Copium.
Yeah, man, that's a tough one.
That's very tough.
I really, really want to see how Sind and Boyce play into Akimbo mode. I would love to see that. I feel as though it would be cool to see how Barcode now respond though after that loss into Team Copium. Although I also think that Team Copium might be able to be a little bit stronger than Barcode just because we saw them, do so well into Akimbo and Skyhammer. Honestly, it's a bit of a toss-up there. I'm
Yeah,
going to
it's
say
tough.
I think I would like to see. I actually think this game as well, Barcode versus Team Copium, might be a bit more important just because both of these teams we've seen them
They've
lose
lost
to Akimbo
once.
mode.
Yeah.
If one of these teams loses twice, there's a chance they don't get to the elimination round, I think. Now, I'm not a mathematician, but I do think it's possible that if you know, the loser of this match, they've now lost at least twice. We haven't seen them fight up against Boyce's team either, so if they lost against them, you know, there's an even more possibility they've lost 3 times. Yeah.
I think what would happen is if, in a way, both these games are both equally insanely important.
Right.
If Akimbo mode lose, then the loser of this game would be out, if that makes any sense, right? Because that's how it ranks it.
Right.
So, assuming that Akimbo mode win, it's not the end of the universe for either of those two teams. They can still make it through. But if Akimbo mode loses to Syndrina and rank 22 Dragons, then I think the loser of Team Copium versus Barcode would actually potentially be eliminated. So it's a real tough one there. So which one are we going to leap into?
I'm in Barcode versus Copium right now.
Okay, let's do it. I'm going to leap in.
Okay.
Yeah, let's do it. Cool. I'm going to hop on board and just.
I just like seeing the Deadeye, you know. And
yeah, the Deadeye. And I think I owe Team Barcode one. You know, I doubted them, and I feel bad. You know, I feel like they deserve to be shown that they can crush, they can farm. Right, hang on a minute. Let me press the button. Boom! I'm pressing the button.
That's Eye of the North. That's not
I let the map time out. Okay, it timed out. I didn't make it, but I've made it now.
Okay.
Oh no!
Well, I'll hold off for.
I was actually a little bit too late. That's unfortunate. My overlay will now no longer show the timer. That's unfortunate, but that's okay. Wait, that's not that okay actually.
Uh-oh.
I'm a professional. Look, I'm a professional. Okay, I know what I'm doing.
Yeah, for sure. All right. Anyways, let's get into this game. Both side nodes going to be picked up by each team a piece. We're going to see, oh my god, Maya almost getting deleted, and there she goes, brought into down state now by Grimjack and Azure Dome. Azure Dome yet again on the hunt for these Spectres. There's only one Spectre in this game, though, for him to take down, and so that is going to be a bit of an easier choice, I think, for him. And again, I really think that this Deadeye has the potential to pop off in this match. We're going to see, though, he's going to be starting to chase down Looney now, the harbinger of Red Team, trying to force him away from the node. And Red Team are going to have to play very, very smart around this, having already lost a player, having another one forced away from the node. They have to be very careful they don't overextend and lose even more players, get even more staggered, and potentially lose their home node as well. But Enigma, with a nice heads-up play there, is going to be able to make his way over before that decap can come out. And double cap comes out here for Blue Team.
Yeah, and it's not the best start in the universe here for our Red Team, losing 2 very important players fairly early on. And I'm actually very interesting how they're going to approach this and like how they're actually going to play around this, because I almost feel like this is one of the games where having a support for Red could actually be pretty good, because it would allow them to kind of lock the map down instead of trying to keep up with their opponents, because I think that they are really going to struggle to keep up with the rotations here from the Triple Thief on blue, especially that as they have that Harbinger. Of course, the Spectre they have, the Herald and the Untamed, are both pretty fast, but the Harbinger is pretty slow, right? And will be a pretty easy pickoff, I think, for the blue team.
Now, would you consider this Herald an actual support or more of a bunker? I mean, obviously it's going to have a ton of healing from Ventari, right, and Salvation, but I don't know if I would consider it like a true dedicated support here. Yeah,
it's an interesting one, to be honest. Like, I think it can almost be a little bit of a support. It has a lot of boon access when it's in these fights. I think it's being primarily used as a bunker build, to be honest here, and kind of just to stall out fights and slow the game down a little bit. But no, I wouldn't really give it full support. I don't think so anyway. Maybe Barcode knows something that we don't, but I do view it as a little bit of an interesting choice to go with him for this build. I guess it is,
absolutely. We are going to see
some value.
Blue Team commit, a couple of players to it, and obviously going to lose the node there, but not his life. So the Herald there for Red Team doing some nice work there. And actually a kill picked up here onto the Blade Sword. 2 kills picked up. This Grimjack was killed out earlier. Phoenix. The NA players, unfortunately, meeting some EU opposition. Azure Dome coming in, though, but I think Enigma, once again, Enigma doing a nice job of realizing this. And Maya there to back him up just in case as well. And Red Team, they've swapped the map now. They have the double cap. They're starting to close this gap very, very quickly with a couple of kills, and they're in a very good position to hold it too. And again, I love the rotations here from Red Team, constantly aware of where Blue Team are going to be. Maya now going to be bringing, we're going to see Remy, the Spectre, one of the Spectres, I should say, from Blue Team over, and almost getting the decap too.
I have to say, I do kind of like what Red Team's trying to do here. I like that they're not committing to the third node too hard. Yeah. They know that their opponents are faster than them. They know that if they tried to abuse the whole map, then they're going to have difficulties with that. I do like the strategy here from Barcode. This is nice. As I say that, we are now seeing the +1.
this Herald as well. He went all the way from Windmill over to Mansion because they knew that this was going to be where Blue Team were respawning from and putting a lot of their players into. And obviously he can bunker down to this node for a while. They do need to back him up though, because he is going to go down if he has to stay here for too long. He doesn't have as many, places to kind of rotate out of as he did on the other side of the map. But again, a decap comes out to answer the decap on mid, and still the Herald doing a great job of bunkering down this node. Aoni though potentially rotating in here, and that'll be a 1 versus 3. So red team really need to be on top of this. He doesn't have Glen Heal available. I think that should be a kill confirmed here. Shield 5 going to keep him alive for a couple more seconds, but he can't sustain for that much longer. Gets into his staff just barely. The staff 3 into the staff 5. Back into Ventari, but I think he probably will die at this point. The reflect. Wait, he's get back down. He does.
Manages to die on the node to contest it for a few more seconds there, but yeah, and I do gotta feel that
and they get the kill.
In a way, I think the mistake there by Red was to, in a way, play 3 a little bit, right? That allowed them to very quickly outnumber the Herald. They kind of don't get punished for it. Oh no, that's a disgusting revive. Oh no.
And then he realizes it, but it's too late.
Oh. That actually sucks, because they were going to trade 1 for 1, a Spectre for a Herald. Okay, yeah, we can deal with that. But they actually lose that trade as Asm with a very sneaky stealth revive brings the Spectre back up. Ooh, yeah, that's a very unfortunate mistake for Red Team to make here. And I think that's really going to help Blue Team restabilize here and not lose too much, not lose too much ground there after a little bit of a scuffed mid-game there.
Yeah, the one sort of silver lining there was that he was in downstate long enough for the Herald to come back in off a respawn, so they weren't really outnumbered on the map. But either way, here we are, a large fight brewing up around mid. Enigma already taking a bit of pressure. Blue Team maybe sort of privy to the fact that Enigma is a lot of damage for this team. But Azurdome has been taken out so quickly, and Grimjack might actually be the next to fall. The kills are coming out for this red team. Harbinger are doing so much damage. Look at that pressure on that cleave. They're not going to be able to get that res.
Blade's thrown down as well.
Yeah, Phoenix goes down. Enigma, the Untamed, the Ranger, is hunting these players down. Azurdome has maybe found a match here in this game, in this match.
That is what Untamed does. That is what it does. It hunts players down. It is fantastic at eliminating squishy targets. And I think I've got to say the Harbinger putting work here as well. You used to play a very defensive build utilizing death magic to shield yourself and get a lot of sustain. But because that build was nerfed significantly, we actually see a much more aggressive build utilizing soul reaping from the Harbinger here on the red team, dealing a huge amount of damage. And if you do get your Necromancer into those fights, into that kind of 3v3 situation, you can devastate your opponents. That is what Necromancer does best, and I think we saw that used to great effect here by the red team, in fact.
Yeah, and I think there was a huge Shroud 5 Vital Draw on top of that cleave as well that really pressured Blue Team off of it as well and led to that second follow-up kill. So, I mean, it's a close game, obviously. Only about 20 points or so difference here, but Red Team, I'd say they're rotating very, very well right now, and they're finding kills in these fights as well, and just around the map in general, playing very, very well into this Blue Team, who I think most people would probably have favored them a little bit, but so far Red Team holding their own and more. Really, really great job from Barcode.
Yeah. I mean, Barcode are really putting on a performance right here. And as we mentioned before, this is a very important matchup, actually. Both these teams really want to win this, as we can see here.
Absolutely.
Oh, a lot of pressure coming through onto Maya. Oh, it does go in the downside. Is that revivable? Oh, maybe. It's going to be tough.
Here. I think they have it.
They get it. Take a lot of pressure, though.
What cost? Yeah, the damage is so big. Looney, the Harbinger almost goes. They do go into downstate the condition pressure, and Enigma, I think, probably too pressured out there from that res to really do much there. So that is going to be basically the Spectre for the Harbinger traded out, as well as the middle node. And
Enigma.
Oh, no. Yeah, that's huge. That's a really big kill picked up for Azurdome.
That was a great kill. Red? Wait. We are seeing some serious shenanigans over here. The Herald is actually holding really well into the Catalyst, nearly able to actually grab the node, I presume, by spamming knockbacks. The stability from the Catalyst should be good to hold on pretty nicely, but during all of that, the Bladesworn did get picked off there. I've got to hand it to Barcode. They really handled that setback really well. They pick up that kill. That's fantastic. They actually hold the side nodes neutral. They now have Enigma back off there with the Harbinger. That should allow them to pressure the Catalyst and the Deadeye pretty well here, maybe get themselves a node on the board. I don't actually hate this for Barcode. I think this is a workable situation. This is a very playable position for them, I think.
Yeah, they've got to find nodes fast, though, and Maya's very, very pressured in this 2v2 with the respawn from the Bladesworn as well, so it's not the best position for Red Team to be in, but it's definitely a salvageable one, where before it seemed kind of desperate for them. We're going to see Maya getting back in towards middle node, Enigma as well as the Herald going to be here, potentially to heal Maya up. trying to make some rotations now over to Windmill. Looks like they might try to sack mid, which I actually think is probably the right call, although the Harbinger is still there putting a little bit of pressure on Azure, which is fine for now as long as the Harbinger doesn't go down. But again, the node's coming out here for blue team, so red team have to make some work come out here. They do get Windmill after that rotation here from Enigma into Windmill. Now they've actually left Mansion completely, and they're now going back into mid. I really like how they've moved their players around the map. However, the Harbinger going to be out and alone here and taken out. Yeah. I don't know if this is Reservoir Demolish on top of it. There is a lot of pressure, however. Actually, great Dragon Slash coming out here. He's going to have to leave. That is a very, very low Spectre, but I don't know if it's going to be Reservoir now, and that probably will be the swing there for blue team. Yeah.
Yeah, that's a really nice kill to pick up there. Removing that means that big team fight pressure has been kind of removed from the red team, and that means that red won't be able to really force the issue here. They should be able to grab blue. Well, blue should be able to grab this middle node there. Some contest comes in there at the last second by the Blades one. Oh, and that might have been a bit too greedy. In fact, it definitely was. Instantly destroyed. A lot of damage in these games. Still close though. The Herald will be able to bunker down a little bit and hold on to the clock tower. But Maya, just like, oh, where do you run at this point? Trying to get away and reset the fight. Wait, no way. No. Oh my god.
Herald gets the res.
Okay, this is a broken build. This is actually a broken build. The Herald gets the full res and actually massively burst heals at the same time. Goodness me, I should not have doubted the power of the Ventari Revenant. All those recent changes to the tablet making it more usable are certainly paying off, but unfortunately, I'm not sure it's going to pay off enough as blue team, during all of that madness, were able to grab those side nodes there and get themselves a very significant advantage in this game.
Yeah, and Enigma now going to be pressured away from Mansion. Not going to be able to put any pressure there. Doesn't get the port up either. Just going to get that for some distance here. And Maya now going to be taken out. Maya has been under pressure for so long the last few moments. This is obviously not going to be reasonable. The Harbinger now going to fall. And I think this might just be extending the lead here from blue team. It looked pretty close here for a while, but now Enigma going to be picked up as well. This is a huge wipe here for blue team across the map. And I think this might just be the final moment here in this specific game for Barcode. That's probably going to be a triple cap too soon. Obviously, the Herald, we've seen some great plays from him. We've seen some great stuff from him so far, but there's 3 players on him. They've locked him down here. He's going to die off node as well. And yeah, the triple cap comes out here. We're going to see King Vanish demolished on the Bladesworn here for red team, locked away as well. And that's every single player dead in a matter of moments here from red team. Great swing here from blue team. Nice sort of regroup, come back to really push into this map and slam red team down.
Roy, akimbo mode versus Indecipherable. I think we actually want to leap into that game right now, dude, because I think it's fair to say that this is going to be very favorable towards blue team from this point. And yeah, in fact, I think red team are essentially calling GG at this point. But goodness me, Roy, it is 305 to 330 with actually akimbo mode in a little bit of trouble right now. As I see blue team doing extremely well here, holding this double cap. Of course, we didn't see the start of this game, but there are actually 2 kills right now with Goku and Killmage fully eliminated here. That is a really good moment to have 2 kills on the board, in fact. As if blue can just maybe hold on a little bit longer. They should get themselves a really big lead. 4 minutes left on the clock. They're looking for another kill onto a spree here. Gornet now moving in here on the Harbinger to try and get a kill. But red are respawning. They have a very short window to recover, but it's not a long window. They really need to do something very quickly.
Yeah, Spree going to be pressured very hard by Boyce here on the Untamed. However, we do see Ryken taking quite a bit of damage. Red team looking. They smell the blood in the water, and they're looking now for this kill. But Spree again going to be pushed out 4% HP. However, he's going to be able to find Spree again, surviving against all the odds, and the res, unfortunately, not coming through it yet. Boy's trying to get on top of that, but the Blue Team good, and the rally will be better, so Spree back up. But it's still okay for Blue Team because they've forced Red Team to be fighting this entire time at their home. However, the second kill, the follow-up kill under Gornet, obviously not going to be very good. Sind and Boyce might be able to troll for a little while, but they almost certainly will lose their home node. We're going to see where they decide to go, but wait a minute, look at this play. The balls on Sind and Zan, excuse me, on Boyce. They're going to be pushing back into the node to pull these players away and prevent them from being able to get back out into the rest of the map too easily. Oh, and he's going to make down. That damage that burst from Boyce.
Yeah, the burst is colossal. Gornet's still bleeding out. The Boyce is outright pushing a 1v2, is now joined by Syndrina to try and find this kill as best as they possibly can. Spree holding on for dear life, as we've seen happen so many times. Sind does get caught in that. Yeah, not able to disengage. Oh, it's actually a little bit of a rally war, but of course there's too many players have red. They should be able to get their player back up.
Can he get it?
Oh, that would have been criminal, okay? That would have been ridiculous if that had happened.
Huge res on the other side of the map, though, Teapot. Sorry to interrupt you, but 4 had actually gone into down state, and Drace now is going to be turned back on as the respawns coming through here for Blue Team. And again, I think the damage was done. Blue Team just playing into that side of the map so well, and boys still not die either, continuing to troll over there. They prevented the Kimbo mode, the red team, from getting into the map, getting to Mansion, where they had to be able to decap and pressure, and they were able to hold them off for so long that now Blue Team have really locked this node down. That's going to be game, and rank 22 Dragons coming through hot, taking out a Kimbo mode.
Yeah, Kimbo mode have been eliminated. Well, of course, not actually eliminated, but they've been eliminated in this game at least. Don't see much of a recovery potential for them. Of course, they will still have more opportunities, but that is a little bit worrisome for Barcode, actually, particularly, as they did lose their game there. And, of course, a Kimbo mode beat. Were able to defeat Team Copium as well, so it's a little bit scary. They're not out for sure, I think, because they're basically losing to like the seed number 1, seed number 2. So not the end of it's not like impossible they could make it through, but that's certainly going to be a little bit stressful for them. Let's hopefully they get through, because I think they certainly are a great team that we'd love to have a look at for sure.
Absolutely, but, and you know, I think it's gonna matter. Like I could have missed it. I don't think we've seen Sinden Boyce's team versus. Certainly not versus Barcode. I don't think we saw them versus Team Copium either, so I'm not sure.
Oh, let's see who made it. Oh, yeah. I'm afraid we were correct, Roy. Team Barcode has been eliminated, actually.
What a shame. What a shame.
That's a real shame. Yeah, it's a real shame there. But yeah, that's, you know, you cannot lose too many games, unfortunately, particularly if the teams that you lose to also lose. So very unfortunate they've been taken out. I think they really put up a fantastic series of games here. And we're now on our top 8 for our elimination round. It's going to be the Zintrex team versus rank 22 Dragons. It's going to be Team Copium, again, I believe, versus the Ancient Contenders, if I'm not mistaken, I think. Akimbo mode versus Pella, and Team Copium versus Cranel. I think the Zintrex game is probably the one we want to have a look at here, if I'm not mistaken.
Okay, we haven't seen. I don't think we've really watched too much from Zintrex. Now, I'm probably going to, you know, give the, you know, if I was a betting man, I'd probably put my odds on Blue Team winning here. You know, the rank 22 Dragons. But wait a minute, look at this comp that Red Team are running, Teapot.
Yeah, this
what is this?
That is
what is
something.
Going on here?
Yeah, we have a triple Blade Sworn approach from the Red Team. And then we also have a double Spectre.
I guess these players they're saying they really like 2 classes in the game, and that's it.
Yeah, they don't want to play anything else. Oh, we do see a relog here, but Zintrex is a warrior enjoyer, so I think it's probably going to be probably to another warrior. Potentially could be, I think, a ranger, right? Zintrex is also known to play ranger. We'll see. But certainly an interesting approach here. Let's see how it's going to work out. I mean, Blades One is, of course, it's pretty good. I mean, you know, it's pretty strong.
Yeah, absolutely. Zintrex taking quite a bit of time. You know, you would think that if he's going to relog, it might be better to do it earlier when you have a minute before the game starts, as opposed to right when the game starts. But either way, 4v5 coming in for Red Team here. Zintrex needs to hurry up.
Actually, get in, yeah. Although, this is not ideal.
It might have been a DC, not an actual relog.
That's possible, yeah.
Yeah, okay, he's back. He's just on the Bladesworn. Yeah, I think it was just a DC. It was just a disconnect. He's going to be back pretty quickly, though. It doesn't look like too much damage is done. And Red Team actually choosing to bring some players, some pressure over to the far node, which I think is probably going to help them with that DC, that kind of slower start. But either way, yeah, we are going to see this match go. Oh, Benzo getting deleted at mid, though. Yeah. Oh, boy's on Herald now. No more Untamed.
Yeah, mixing it up a little bit. I think right now in the current meta, I think people would probably say that Herald is a little bit better, but I certainly think that Untamed has really proved itself to be extremely good at dealing with those thieves that we've seen in the previous games, right? Like Enigma performing extremely well, I think, at hunting down the Deadeye and some of those Spectres. So I wouldn't actually rule out Boyce playing with the Untamed as well. He's obviously a very big fan of Ranger, just in general. So yeah, definitely stay tuned for that. It could be anything, really. So far, though, Blue Team... They are kind of destroying this game, right? Like, this is definitely a bit of a rough one.
I'm going to be honest with you, but I actually really just don't see Red Team having a lot of opportunity to do stuff here. I think, for one thing, they don't have the damage to match the Harbinger if the Harbinger really gets going. Boyce if he really gets going. And they obviously have a couple of Spectres, but they're matched. Right? It's the same. It's not like they have more Thieves than Blue Team. And again, Boyce is going to be able to rotate very, very well. They don't have any sort of real team fight value. Obviously there's going to be some heals coming out from the Bladesworns, but if the Bladesworns can't survive the fight long enough to heal each other, I do not see this comp working into Blue Team. Maybe really into most comps. Obviously, Bladesworn and Spectre, very, very good, but when you put this many of them together without mixing it up at all, I think you're really locking yourself into just a bad situation, and Blue Team are going to farm this game, in my opinion.
Yeah, you can kind of joke around about, like, oh yeah, why are there only two classes, game balance, Omega Lol, but to be honest, in general, doing stuff like this isn't really that good, and we're kind of seeing that right now. And obviously the diversity of different builds it's not perfect on Blue Team. We have the double Spectre, but to be frank, you actually have, you got a decent amount of variety in that. I actually wasn't expecting to see Necromancer that much in this tournament, actually, but it looks like the Necromancer have kind of, thought about it a little bit and come up with some new ideas, actually.
If anyone's going to play Necro, it's going to be Gornet.
Absolutely,
probably the best PvP Necro in the game, I'd say. And so I'm not really that surprised to see it from him. And again, I think this was more of like a for-fun team, which is kind of funny to say since they're potentially the best team.
They're going to win,
yeah. But I don't know. Look, again, if you want to lock yourself into running 2 classes out of 36, you can do so, but this is the risk you take when you do so. And this game I just don't see Blue having issues here. I don't think there's a weakness that Red Team can exploit in any way. They're just going to probably lose. We see Benzo relogging here. Benzo, I mean, maybe he goes NG, but I don't know what NG build he's going to play. Maybe he tries to go some support to help his team out. Maybe he goes, I don't know, Herald or something? I don't know. Oh, they're saying he's DC'd again.
Oh, well,
I don't know.
Well, yeah, that's unfortunate, obviously. That's not great, but I mean, I'm not sure if I hate to say it doesn't exactly matter. I'm being told actually by the chat he's logged off.
I mean, that's obviously possible.
Yeah, he has logged off from the game.
Yeah. It's very... I think he's certainly disconnected either way.
Should we take a look at some of the other games, right? To see if anything is going on.
Absolutely, sure. We can do so.
Let's see.
I'd say maybe Team Copium versus Niccolo?
Yeah, let's go ahead and take a look at that one. I think that's... actually, we do actually have a little bit of a close matchup here. In fact, yeah, Blue Team definitely ahead right now. Of course, the double Mirage composition. We did see this struggle a little bit. Well, when I say a little bit, I mean quite a lot, right? In the first round in this situation. But... either way, they actually got a few points at least. But yeah, the bell is now up. Blue should be able to force the issue. They have a very solid team fight. Kind of the backbone of this with the the Bladesworn providing some good support, condition removal, and honestly, the Catalyst. Like people talk about Catalyst in the duelist role, which it absolutely is, but it brings some colossal area damage and area pressure in some of these team fights too. So the combination of those two builds kind of rips through more or less anything.
Yeah, and again, I want to press. I think that it's obviously nice to see teams like trying something different than what maybe a lot of people would consider the meta. But at the same time, we have so many. Even though there's Spectres on pretty much every team, right? We still have a lot of really diverse comps. I mean, we saw obviously that last team trying to just run Bladesworns and just stack them. It obviously didn't work. We see this Blue Team running. Yeah, they've got some Spectres, but they've also got a Deadeye. They've also got a Catalyst. Red Team, obviously, with the double Mirage, although maybe that's not working so well. But then we've seen Sin and Boyce playing. I think they're not stacking a single class. We saw Barcode not stacking a single class and doing extremely well, even though not making it here. It does seem as though, Spectre, a very, very strong proponent of this meta, but a lot of what you fill in the rest of your comp with sort of seems a little bit more flexible. And I think that's where we're really seeing separations from some of these teams. And unfortunately, the Mirage just doesn't really seem to be able to compete with the rest of the kind of the top classes in this meta. I think the Deadeye is just very, very strong. The Catalyst, very good. The Bladesworn, very good. And Mirage, unfortunately, just has fallen a little bit by the wayside for now. And so, again, love to see Rip coming back to the game. Love to see them trying something a little bit different, but it's just not working for them right now.
Yeah, I mean, they've made it to the top 8. That's commendable, of course, in a tournament like this. But unfortunately, I believe their journey is almost certainly going to end here. I think I'm going to go ahead and leap into another one of these games. In fact, never mind. They're ending rather quickly, actually. We have the other Team Copium currently doing battle. And that's actually a game that's got a little bit of closeness to it, actually. But again, the Team Copium number 2 doing extremely well, actually. into this matchup so far. It's a bit of a different approach here. Actually, we see a team fight comp with the support, actually with double Herald from Red Team here, which is pretty good.
That's spicy. Yeah. I do love to see Herald. As a Herald enjoyer, it is a, a good class to see being represented here. Yeah, Jeff, Roach God X, the blue team Catalyst now going to be engaged on. Obviously, red team a little bit behind, but they do have the decaps across the map, so they've got that pressure. They're holding on to Doc as well. That blue team don't have any pressure on there. That's a double cap, I think, just barely contested here by blue team. But with that, I think that was probably the invulnerability from Zenvo, preventing Zenvo from being able to cap that node. But either way, we are going to see still a pretty close match here from red team. They are in a position, I'd say, to come back here.
Yeah, they absolutely are. And I think this is what's good about running these double heralds, and even the Mirage too, right? They have a lot of damage, so if they can quickly pick up kills in succession, then they can get a lot of work. Then they did just lose the bell. Chunsu just managed to cheekily grab that, during some of the rotations there. And Zenvo incredibly low. This is kind of a bit of a funny thing about Mirage, right? And honestly, Mesmer in general. You almost view other classes as being able to regenerate, but Mesmer just has a permanent health bar. If you damage them, they can't get health back. The only way they can heal is by dying. That's kind of what's happening right now with Zenvo not being able to resustain very well, unfortunately. And yeah, Caspi got picked off there by the Herald. So blue team, I think, stabilizing quite well. They're now moving over towards this middle node. Oh, they might get another kill. Yeah, the Blaze will just get completely destroyed. And red team almost a little bit disjointed there. They're just being caught out on the map, and after gaining a potential comeback position there by picking off a few kills here and there and getting some momentum, they have promptly lost all of it. And now they're in trouble.
Yeah, absolutely. And, I do actually like this swap from Chunsu over to the Core Guardian as well. I think maybe that's just, as his name sort of says, a little bit more of a reliable support for this team, as well as just having that res utility. Although I think Tempest certainly still going to be pretty good, potentially even better in some situations. But either way, it's working out for them here. Tempest is now going to be brought in to downstate the support here for red team themselves. Zenvo also going to be very, very pressured here on this Mirage. Blinking away, gets the Oasis out, so going to potentially have some heals, but no, he's going to be taken out. And yeah, blue team starting to run away with this one for sure. Looks like they were in a position to maybe bring some comeback there, but the bell into the wipes, into the node, value there just from blue team a little bit better. And yeah, looks like they probably will close this one out.
Yeah, absolutely. Looking very, very good indeed for the blue team. They'll be advancing onwards. If we are actually going to see the next matchup, and I think that's going to be a good one, it's going to be the Syndra team, ranked 22 Dragons, into Team Copium. And the other one is going to be, I believe, Akimbo mode into other Team Copium, if I'm not mistaken.
Dang. Honestly, I'd say Akimbo mode kind of getting a little lucky there because they almost lost to Team Copium, right?
Yeah.
To the
less scary team for them from their perspective, for sure.
And they did lose to Sin's team. And honestly, I don't believe we've seen Indecipherable versus Azudome's Team Copium yet.
No,
so
we
this
haven't.
is going to be a
That's
really
going to be a fresh matchup, yeah, very good, very good.
Definitely Akimbo mode winning out on that sort of the luck of the draw there.
Yeah.
And I think that'll probably be the match to watch, Indecipherable versus Team Copium.
Yeah.
Once that pops up,
for sure.
That'll be our semifinal, which means our final will most likely be Akimbo mode, assuming they are able to win against the other Team Copium, versus whoever wins this match. And again, I think that should be really exciting because we have seen Akimbo mode beat Team Copium, but it was very, very close. And I think that maybe Skyhammer worked a little bit against Team Copium there. And we have seen them lose, although again, it was very close, to rank 22nd Dragon. So either way, whoever wins that match is going to be, a pretty strong contender into Akimbo mode. I'm very excited for these next two matches. They should be very tight. They should be very close. I'm expecting to see some good stuff. And a lot of kills either way. Team Copium, Team Copium, Team Copium. Yes, there are many Team Copiums.
Double Team Copium.
Maybe we are all, in fact, Team Copium.
Yeah. It's going to be starting up very shortly. And yeah, bear in mind, this is elimination. So, we already got through the kind of the Swiss style part of it. And that means that when these teams lose, that is it. So all of these games are extremely, extremely important. They must win.
Yes, losing is not as good as winning.
That's true. We're on stream now. Okay, our beautiful faces have been revealed while we wait for the games.
Yes, no, very good indeed. Teapot, not that I don't want you to, be wearing your shirt because it's the classic Teapot move. I'm just curious, what would it take for you to wear a suit? I know you've said that you don't like suits before, because I obviously we've had this conversation many times, but I was just curious because I think you'd look great in a suit. But I'm just curious, would you ever wear a suit? Would you ever don one, or is your style just the classic T-shirt, which is fine, of course.
I do it for charity.
for charity. Okay, hey,
Yeah,
fair enough.
I do have a
Fair
charity. If we were doing a charity tournament, I'd go grab a suit. For something like that. Yeah, I'd be down.
So
I'd be
I'm
down.
just not good enough. I get it. All right. Hey,
Yeah.
you know what? That's fine. I
Yeah.
understand. Yeah, fair enough. Fair enough. Makes sense. Why won't these games start? My God, no.
It's just taking a little while here, but yes, By the way, gamers, it's awesome to see so many out of you, many of you out here today. Sorry, I'm a little bit worn out. This Steam release is starting to wear on me a little bit, Oh, goodness me. All this streaming, all these Twitch drops, I'm losing it, okay? But anyway, it's awesome to see so many people out here celebrating PvP. And of course, a massive shout out here to ArenaNet for organizing this and even sorting us out with some front page time as well. Thank you so much, everyone, for being involved. And I also want to give a big shout out to some of these teams here. A lot of these teams have actually kind of come together in a way on our request. We said, hey, some of the teams, particularly the indecipherable team here, the Rank 22 Dragons, we actually did ask them to basically play, and hey, they're doing pretty well, so maybe that's, maybe they're okay with that. But massive shout out to them. They really pulled it together kind of at the last minute to make sure that we could give an amazing show to all of you here. So thank you very much to Team Indecipherable and, of course, the other teams who kind of stepped up and played to give us some entertainment. And I believe we're actually about to get into the game. But yeah, awesome to see so many viewers here for PvP. We really hope you're enjoying it. And, there's one of these every month. So good news, there's plenty more.
Yeah, forever. One
forever.
every month.
Literally forever, yeah.
Absolutely. But no, I'm really excited for the next two matches. Really good to see. Again, obviously, big shout out to Boyce and Sin and Gornet and Floor and Riken for coming together at the last moment and getting some excellent PvP action, some awesome PvP, if you will, for us. And it looks like they're doubling down on the Herald now. So this is interesting because we saw Boyce playing Untamed every single game up until the last one where he was on Herald. And obviously, he popped off on Herald. He farmed on Herald. He can do this very well. Why do you think he's running Herald and not Untamed, though, against this team, which
Oh, it's Untamed.
Wait a minute.
It's going to be an Untamed.
Oh, looks like it is going to be Untamed. Yeah, I think he's swapping back. Okay, so I'll just flip it. Why Untamed instead of Herald against this team?
I think on this map, Ranger is excellent. It's a wide open space, and that is exactly what Ranger loves. Utilizing that longbow with the massive range can be quite hard to escape from it. And I think also, Boyce is going to be trying to hunt down Azadome. I think in all the games with Team Copium here, the really big plays, the really big moves have actually been around the Deadeye, right? The Deadeye is the key to making this work. Yeah, you 100%. You do. And I think shutting that down has got to be kind of the game plan, right? For Rank 22 Dragons here. They need to get rid of that Deadeye.
Deadeye is the kind of spec, in my opinion, where it can do stuff on its own, right? It can have value on its own wherever it goes around the map. But when you really play through it, when you play through this type of spec that just deals massive damage, can easily find and pick up kills, continue to keep pressure, and really move around a lot, when you play through something like that, you really can pop off. And again, we saw them do this on Skyhammer. Clearly not well enough against Akimbo mode. They were able to beat them out there at the end. But yeah, I think you're absolutely right. If Blue can shut Azurdome down, and we're going to see Boyce definitely going for that, then I think they have a very strong chance to win. We haven't seen these teams fight yet, and throughout the Swiss and obviously the earlier elimination matches. So here it is, Legacy of the Faux Fire, the first map we started on. This is the semi-final. One of these teams is going home. One of these teams is going up against Akimbo mode, potentially in the finals. Already, Boyce going to be 1 versus 1 against a Spectre here on mid, taking some pressure. It's going to be a 1 versus 2 for a moment here over at the Waterfall. His floor is going to get plus, but Sind now making the rotation in to try and help his Bladesworn.
Yeah, I think this is something that is... you're going to see this quite a lot, I think. Syndra, one of the most experienced thieves in the game. He's going to be very, very good at being in the right place at the right time. In particular, I think we've seen a lot of... Bladesworns have had a bit of a rough time, right? The thieves have been bullying them all game. Yeah. However, I think that Syndra will be very aware, making sure to go and assist Floor when necessary to try and prevent any kind of deaths from happening. And so far, both teams honestly doing a great job of that, as they are rotating very quickly around the map, assisting their allies when needed. And, well, we're kind of waiting for that first kill. It may well be on the Bladesworn, though. Sin comes back and boom, finds that kill. Very, very good stuff there. Floor will be able to grab that node and, of course, the first kill in the game. Now, middle was conceded, though. Gornet not able to push into that side alongside Boyce, as the threat of the Deadeye is too much.
I'm really looking at Gornet here this game. I feel like the pressure's going to be on him. It's going to be really, really difficult, and I'm interested to see how Blue Team decide to play around him, because I think if they can enable Gornet a little bit in these fights, he can definitely pop off like we saw him do on Kylo, or rather like we saw the other Harbinger do on Kylo, but I just don't know if it's going to be easy for him, especially against Azurdome, this Deadeye. I mean, look, he's locked down by 3 thieves. What can he do here? And Does get healed by the trait there from, I believe that was Stint, probably keeping him alive for a couple more seconds. But again, he can't kite, and on a map like Legacy,
this is not the map,
so difficult for him. Yeah, I actually maybe would have preferred to see him go Herald, which is a class that we have seen him play a lot, especially since his voice isn't playing it. But either way, we've seen him do some good work on Necro. We've obviously talked about how strong of a Necro player he is. You know, we'll have to see what happens, but I think that's going to be a huge weakness for Red Team to really look at to take down there and play into just getting kills on Harbinger. But wait a minute, look at this. Sind with the stealth res. Is he going to be able to get it? No, Azurdome comes back in. The cleave's going to be good, and unfortunately, that will not be the rally there for the Harbinger.
Yeah. It's not going to be quite enough in. I completely agree there. Like, that Harbinger is going to be difficult to get value out of here, I think, for the blue team here. They need to find some way to leverage that. You are actually allowed to relog in automated tournaments, so we could potentially see a relog here. Of course, you know, Gornet is very well known for Necromancer play, but actually did end up playing Herald in Mastery of the Arena as well, so more than capable on that setup, as you mentioned. But I think maybe it's a little bit too early to call that. Maybe we'll see another attempt here, another perhaps slightly changed approach to get value out of the Necromancer before we see anything like that. It's still early days, and the lead for Red Team is certainly not insurmountable, particularly if Blue Team are able to pick up a few kills here and there.
I really think we need to see Gornet, A, avoid mid, because there's just less room for him to kite, and also B, just, again, I think his teammates need to play with him a little bit more, so we do see him off respawn go immediately towards Waterfall where his players were, but now that has allowed the rest of Red Team to move in and immediately delete this Spectre here from Blue Team. Riken going to be taken out very quickly, and this is going to very much slow down Blue Team's progression back into this map. And I got to say as well, I don't know if this is just Blue Team, you know, trying to play Boyce a little bit differently than we might have expected, or if it's Azurdome just doing an excellent job of avoiding him, but we haven't really seen Boyce putting very much pressure onto the Deadeye from Red Team so far, and that's definitely hurting them a little bit. Azurdome has been allowed to kind of move around this map very freely. We haven't seen Boyce, you know, we haven't seen him, you know, get the normal value we would come to expect from him. So we'll have to see what he can start to do here now, but we are going to see Riken come back in off respawn. So the 5 players now going to be back in. But again, look at Gornet. He's very low. Gets that elite down. Tons of boons on him, but the pressure just so much. The Shroud not going to be able to obviously keep him alive as it doesn't soak up damage anymore on Harbinger. So yeah, I don't know. It's going to be hard. They do have quite a bit of counter pressure now back onto Remy, this Red Team Spectre. But again, it's so difficult for them to res. They don't have a lot of classes that can really do that. The hard resing is just probably isn't going to be possible for them. They do get the pressure now on to the Spectre. He's going to go into downstate, but I think the players are here from Red Team. Grimjack on top of this with Aoni. Probably the cleave from both boys. And Riken is going to be really, really good. They might be able to hold on to this, and this would be a huge pickup for them. They have to be able to find kills and play off. I was going to say now,
this is actually really scary. They're about to lose a Spectre here. This is a really close res here. They're trying to find it. Is the Spectre cleave enough? It looks like the damage is just barely going to come through. But the blue Spectre is very, very low as well. Needs to get out now. And actually, Sin now moves in. That could be another kill potentially. Onto the Catalyst. This is absolutely massive. What a turnaround there. What an insane play out of rank 22 Dragons. Can they get any more, though? That's the question. Bladesworn just in this 1v1, actually in the mirror matchup there. Looks like Red Team has successfully disengaged. So they're only going to lose a single node for this. But this does allow Gornet to go and push over here and deal with the red Bladesworn.
This is a great rotation from Blue Team. The way they just split their players up across this map is brilliant. Gornet moving into Waterfall, where he's going to be a lot safer than staying around mid.
Yep.
One of their players locking down mid, and then both Boyce and Sind moving over to to Quarry. Huge plays here from Blue Team, and they just triple cap in an instant. Excellent rotations from them. Excellent kills picked up and plays around mid as well. Really great job.
That's kind of that veterancy, the experience we're talking about. They knew exactly where to go after that fight. They saw the opportunity, and wow, did they take it. However, Gornet getting absolutely beaten down over. It does have the elite skill, which could be used defensively to hold on, but it's not going to be easy, as a Spectre is going for the chase here. It's so close to getting the heal skill, but is it going to happen in time? I'm not sure if it is. No, it is not. Floor was not quite able to be in range there to get that support. That will leave the Warrior in a 1v2. So Blue Team, they need to find something here. They're looking for a kill on a Spectre on middle. Zan, very confusing name. Boyce, and of course the Blue Spectre are able to find that pretty well. And as long as Syndra are disengaged, this is an okay situation. Blue getting themselves back up to, back up to even points. But both teams rather, a player down right now. And with the Waterfall being captured, Floor, of course, can't hold that 1v2. Red Team will maintain their lead.
Yeah, absolutely. It's slight, though. Obviously, that was a huge comeback there from Blue Team, but they're starting to lose some pressure around the map. And I'm a little bit surprised we didn't see Gornet and Floor playing a little bit closer to each other on that node. Obviously, Floor able to heal throughout all of his utilities, his 3 utility skills, the shouts, they're going to be able to heal on each charge. So I'm surprised we didn't see him trying to get a little bit more value from healing in Gornet, but I think they were really concerned about having one player still on the node to hold on to it. Still, maybe a little bit of a misplay. Either way, it's going to be side nodes for a moment here for Red Team, but the quick decap as Gornet comes in off of respawn. However, that's going to be kind of alleviated and mitigated for Red Team as they find the kill onto Riken there. That Spectre again going to be picked up over at mid, but Sind might be able to get a decap. Are we going to see Grimjack there in time? No, we're not. And Sind, really good rotation. It's going to be a completely neutral map for a moment, but Waterfall not going to be picked up, and Blue Team have the favorable map control for a minute, even with the player less on the map.
They need to reinforce this quickly, though. That Harbinger cannot survive this outnumber for very long whatsoever. The Warrior will, of course, do their best to hold on for as long as possible and support the Necromancer with some of those shouts and Warhorn abilities, but we'll have to concede the node because of that. Now the respawn is here as Riken back from the base. We're able to help out with this Harbinger. Maybe they could turn it around as Cinderner is here too. Could they maybe pick up this Bladethorn quickly and then use that to push across the map? Let's see if they can. It's a 1v3, 1v4 even. Essentially, well, yeah, that's how that one goes.
Yeah, it's a 1v4 there because it was a 1v3 on mid. Boyce, wait a minute. Boyce almost gets a kill in 1 versus 3. Look at this. The damage onto the Spectre is insane. Ioni just barely keeping him alive with that tether. And Boyce, he gets them all onto him. He gets the CC. Here's Riken. He might be able to find the kill, but Boyce just playing out of his mind, and the node is still contested.
Boyce has activated. The Ranger has increased his power level to maximum, which is what we love to see. You really do. Really wants to get to those finals. Wants to face, well, a Kimbo mode, presumably. See if that's going to happen, though, but that's not quite enough just yet. The node was eventually captured by the Red Team. Red 20 points ahead. A really good burst there onto the Spectre, but that Shroud keeping that Thief safe. But oh my goodness, another massive port there. The tail swipe moves in, and the Spectre in so much trouble. Shroud is up there. Look at that mobility. The port, look at that. You could almost think this player is hacking with how fast that Thief is moving, but the hunt is not over just yet. Here we go. The Untamed going for that kill. He's able to get it.
Yeah,
that's
and
really
look,
good.
We see Remy, the other Spectre for this team, very low as well. He does get the port over to the Waterfall, and I think that'll be the decap. So Red Team will, a little bit of an advantage in terms of point gain for a moment, but Blue Team should be able to convert this into pressure on the map. They should be able to convert this into a middle node cap. We do see Ezreal trying to go for the res on the Thief there, but Boyce is going to be able to
massive lockdown.
Stop that from happening. But wait a minute, look at Riken. He's very low. Remy does fall now, so both the Spectres going to be out for the moment here, and unfortunately mid not capped. So still, Red Team going to be continuing to just tick ahead for a moment from Blue Team. They're going to be able to continue to increase this lead, but Blue Team should be able to convert this into a very favorable map. And again, Sind, look at this. Quarry, this is basically his home now. He's decapped this so many times.
Should find it.
Red Team are not going to be able to, not going to be able to
barely
keep
gets it. We'll initiate a 1v1. Actually, Thief 1v1, very important. And let's see if Sind actually decides to take it here. Looks like that will indeed be the case. So just to keep this contested for as long as possible. And Blue gets the capture on middle. That was a massive kill. That was a huge kill as well. The Spectre, it was really committing to going for a kill onto Riken there. Couldn't quite get it. The tether from the other Spectre, from Cinder, it healed Riken back up to full, and they turned it around it with a massive stun and pull effect there from the Harbinger, and chain that into a kill. It was a very complicated sequence of events.
Blue Team in the lead for the first time this game.
Yeah, and the Blades were very exposed here, actually. This is a little bit greedy trying to contest this, even though it's not even neutral, and it kind of dies for free there. I'm not sure about that one. There's no Spectre around to do anything, or any kind of cheeky stealth revive, I believe, from the Deadeye. Waterfall did get neutralized again, but still Blue in the driving seat after they pick up this kill. Should again allow Cinder to make a rotation, potentially make a play.
A big change that I've seen as well from Blue Team that Red Team have already reacted to is Gornet has really been hovering in between Waterfall and mid a lot, and the rest of Blue Team, besides when Sind went for that decap, has been doing the same. So it's a lot easier for them to play around the Harbinger and keep him alive, stop that pressure there for Red Team. But Red Team have done a nice job of forcing their way over to Waterfall. Now they found decaps. They found decaps across the rest of the map as well. They're putting their pressure everywhere, but it's still hard for them to continue this. They can't sustain the contest on these nodes, and we now see, I think, Boyce going to be able to free cap Corey. They just, again, Blue Team kind of react to how Red Team are trying to rotate around them with this Harbinger, and they're doing a great job. And look, Boyce doesn't care. He's hunting.
Boyce is pushing the 1v2. He's actually pushing the 1v2. What an absolute mad lad. Oh, wow. That's catastrophic, actually. Gornet finds that kill, I believe, with the instance of the Spectre. And Asm simply could not get out. That is a disaster right now, considering the state of this game. Bear in mind, look at the timer. We've forgotten about the timer, Roy. It's 3 minutes. It's been a slow game. And the Catalyst dies. Floor, wait, was that a 1v1 victory? I believe that may well have been. Actually, maybe the Spectre was here as well, actually. But a very big kill there, eliminating that Catalyst. Wait, and oh, no, it's all crumbling. Oh, no. Another Spectre falls for Red. That might be GG. Yeah.
It's not 100% over yet because, you know, it's still 3 minutes left. There's still enough time if Red Team can really stall out this game and hard win these nodes and these fights. But they still have 2 players in respawn. Things are just not going their way. It's starting to really run away from them here. I don't see them coming back into this, especially because it's a lot harder, I think, for them to really hold on to these nodes into the Harbinger if they're forced to fight them on node. And now, look at this. Blade's worn down. Triple Capcom. Yeah, that's GG, I think. Oh, man. Great plays from Blue Team. And again, I have to say, I really think they're playing at a bit of a deficit with this Harbinger. It's so, especially on the Legacy, it's so difficult, I think, for Harbinger to survive in this meta. But the way that Blue Team, in the second half of this game, started playing around him and leveraging their rotations, leveraging their nodes, leveraging Boyce, incredible. Really great job.
Yeah, that was incredibly clean. Very good gameplay. Yeah, that's essentially going to be the GG moment there. You know, it all kind of completely came together there at the end of the game for rank 22 Dragons. And yeah, they're going to be the finalists. Some just absolutely insane play. Some really clutch moments there in intense. What an excellent match, honestly, Roy. And that's just the semifinals. Now we've got the finals, which I believe is going to be a Kimbo mode. Yeah, Kimbo mode versus rank 22 Dragons in just a few moments. It'll be a different map again, of course. And yeah, I think I actually definitely... You're kind of highlighting Gornet there. I want to do the same thing. I think most Necromancers there, they're just dead. Like, perma-dead the entire game, right? I think that was extremely well played. Harbinger. Yeah, especially on Harbinger. I think that was really well played by Gornet.
He could play core Necro, and he would survive so much easier. And it wouldn't have the same impact if you're able to play the game, but you would definitely be surviving a lot more. And, you know, he was... Look, credit where credit is due. I think Red Team played the beginning of that game very well. They did a really good job of exploiting Gornet and finding kills on him consistently. You know, hunting him down, keeping the pressure up, rotating around where Blue Team were trying to put Boyce specifically. But again, I just think the veteran experience that all the players on Blue Team have, specifically Sind and Boyce and Gornet, it just ended up being too much in their favor. And I mean, Boyce just popping off so many times in outnumbered fights. Both the Thieves, I think, doing an excellent job, Riken, and Sin doing an excellent job rotating in and saving Gornet, you know, and just playing with him, not even saving him as much, but enabling him to do damage. Yeah, just really great job from that team. You love to see it. And in a, you know, I think, A, for a last-minute team, and B, for a team that isn't, it's not really a team, right? It's just a bunch of good players coming together. And playing some stuff that isn't typical. You're playing Harbinger, you're playing Untamed. That's not what we see the French team playing at all. I love to see it. They're playing out of their minds. Great gameplay. Great exhibitions here from that Blue Team, and I'm very excited for this final for sure.
Yeah, this is going to be a great one. We of course, in fact, if you think about it, this is exactly what you'd expect, right? Because Akimbo mode just barely defeated Team Copium. So this should end up being a very close matchup, I believe.
Well, and they lost to 55 as well.
And yeah, they earlier, also, right? They did.
On Kylo.
So it's confusing.
We haven't seen Coliseum yet. So I'm wondering if it's going to be Coliseum. Now, if it is Coliseum, do you think there's an advantage there for either team? Based on what we've seen them play so far. I mean, specifically with I'd say the Harbinger.
They both have a load of Thieves. Yeah, I think for sure, I think the bigger the map is going to be, the harder to rotate around the map. It's going to be harder and harder for Gornet. I mean, this wasn't a great map from the survival perspective. I think the dream is they want something like Skyhammer, right? Because that's where the Necromancer can kite around all of the terrain and do pretty well at surviving. But we'll have to see. I mean, if it does go to Colosseum...
Good.
If it does go to something like Colosseum, I think it's actually pretty even. There is some good terrain for the Necromancer to hide on, but it might just be a little bit too difficult. I think they'd have to be really careful with where they position Gornet in that particular case, because any kind of outnumber is going to be hard. Although the Thieves, then again, the Thieves can rotate very quickly and potentially move around. I've got no idea.
Yeah,
who knows?
Skyhammer definitely would be helpful for Gornet specifically, but I mean, we saw Akimbo mode play pretty well on the map. Obviously, a very close game with Team Copium, but I mean, I think the way that they're very good at knowing when Skyhammer's coming up and really prioritizing getting that map mechanic. And again, like I mentioned at the beginning of that game, I think Skyhammer is a very, dangerous map for teams, because I've seen so many teams throw on that map when Skyhammer comes up because they're just, this is going to be a spicy one, but because they're just not, good at playing through it. But Team Copium, Akimbo mode, we're very good at it. Nonetheless, it is not going to be Coliseum. It's not going to be Skyhammer. It will be another map we haven't seen, Teapot. Temple of the Silent Storm. And this is a good one to end on.
It's a good
or
one.
Maybe a terrible one.
It's a good one to end on, but I'm not gonna lie. That is, in my opinion, that is not what Gornit wanted to see at all. In fact, this is the worst map, right, for ranked 22 dragons. This is pretty bad.
Yeah, I think if he was running again like a different Necro spec, he would maybe have a little bit more of a chance to kind of do stuff on his own. But as it stands, I think it's going to be very, very difficult for him. We might see him swap to Herald. We might just see them double down and play on Harbinger. I don't know, but it's gonna be definitely a challenge for them. But again, it was a challenge for them on Legacy last game. They had a very competent team up against them. We've seen them beat this exact team with the same comp. So, we'll have to see what happens. Either way, it is going to be a Kimbo mode here with the Bladesworn of Goku, Esprit, Drace, and Killmage on the Spectres, and finally Zealith on the Catalyst, going up against here, trying to get some revenge for the team that were the only team that beat them in the Swiss. We've got Riken on that top Spectre, Sind on the bottom one, Gornit on the Harbinger. We've got Boyce, a.k.a. Zan, #1, Simp on the Untamed, and Floor there on the Bladesworn. This is it, the finals of the August monthly automated tournament.
Here we go.
Temple of the Silent Storm.
Here we go. And the reason why this map is going to be a little bit tricky for the Necromancer is a little bit slow. But more importantly than that, in fact, potentially more importantly than that, is there are very important secondary objectives on this map that mean that you don't often get these bigger fights. It's going to be a lot of smaller skirmishes contesting all of the objectives, as failing to contest them can, well, lose you the game extremely quickly. And that's another thing that kind of works against the Necromancer a little bit. But I wouldn't want to say, oh yeah, map GG. We did see, in my opinion, the last game, the real experience level and just the skill of rank 22 work out extremely well for them, that they were able to make it work, despite, of course, Gornit having a pretty miserable time on that map on Fofar. So I certainly wouldn't count them out by any stretch of the imagination.
No, absolutely not. We're going to see the first note given over to the red team now. Obviously getting locked out is going to be blue team, but Esprit starting to find some pressure. Alter probably should go the way of blue team here in a moment, yes. And it's still going to be Temple being contested there, I believe, by Riken. Yes, Riken into Killmage. And yeah, at the moment, it's going to be both teams trying to rotate into this. Boyce is going to get the plus, though, first. It's going to be side note pressure here for blue team.
Yeah, I think that's definitely going to be their game plan here. Let's see if this kill is going to come through onto Killmage. I believe it is. There we go. And on the other side, I think we might see another kill as well. Esprit, just barely able to escape, actually, alongside Dre gazing as well. Both thieves wriggling away quite nicely, but another neutralization here on middle. And yeah, I mean, I think that this is almost like a similar story to the first game, the previous game, right? I think blue team is actually playing the map a little bit better, and despite perhaps having a little bit of a difficult thing to work with this Harbinger, they're making it work despite that, and they actually take a really good opener here. They could potentially find themselves with a double cap, and of course the third node contested. I think they've done a great job in the opener.
Oh, great interrupt on the Shadowfall there from the Catalyst. Zealith, just really nice job. Heads up to interrupt that elite, but I think the Spectre probably wins out this 1v1 eventually already, as Zealith going to be taken out there. And so that should be Temple secured there. However, we are going to see a lot of pressure put onto the rest of this map here now. Sind very low around mid, but Esprit going to be taken out there by Boyce. Ooh, we see Killmage trying to find him. They're putting some pressure onto Sind. He's so very, very low, but they should be able to confirm this kill without too much trouble, and Sind now going to be able to sustain with that Shroud long enough to get back into his heal. Floor, though, going to have to get peeled out by the rest of his team coming in from Altar. But again, blue team, they're finding, one node secure, they lose the other one, and they find the second node. They're doing a good job of just keeping these points ahead here of red team, and about a minute left until we see the first buff pop up.
Yeah, exactly right. And I do think that I think it's quite important for Blue to get an advantage here early on, because I think as more objectives come up, I think they might potentially struggle a little bit more here. As again, the more objectives there are, the more spread they're going to be. So in some sense, like the less valuable the Necromancer is as well over time. So I think they really need to get stuff done pretty early and get themselves a lead. Otherwise, the extreme mobility and slight independence of all of the red team's characters here will start to deliver some more value. So this is certainly what Blue team need to make happen. But yeah, as you say, the first objective is coming up now. Capturing this, double points for a while. Well, from nodes anyway. That's pretty good.
Yeah, absolutely. And yeah, this is going to be a pretty big moment for both of these teams. Neither one is going to want to lose a player when Stillness comes up, because it's just that much easier, obviously, to get that buff, and a big buff it's going to be. You can easily hold on to a very significant lead with just one node while you have Stillness. So yeah, big moment coming up here as the first buff of this game is going to be popping up. Stillness coming out, and right now it's actually going to be Zealith taking it for free.
Oh,
all right.
Okay.
Blue team a little bit slow there. I'm not sure what that was about, but they just gave it away completely, and now they're forced to get this decap onto Temple if they want to be able to prevent red team from running away with points for a little bit.
Yeah, and there was an attempted revival here onto Boy. Sind and Floor committed very hard to it, but looks like they're not going to be able to get that, and that might actually cost Sind as well. Yeah, he's in a lot of trouble here. Gets feared off. That's so many conditions. Surely that's too much to survive. Tries to port away, but no. Isn't going to be able to get away with that, unfortunately. And yeah, that's now a double cap, or rather a quadruple cap, thanks to that Stillness buff. Very, very problematic now for the Blue team. And again, that's just the first objective. In just 2 minutes' time, we're going to have two at the same time. And Blue team cannot afford to miss them like they just did there. And you can see how punishing it's being currently.
And I think, you know, red team putting some players now into mid is really smart, just because Gornet is not going to be able to rotate out of this node very easily, although Gornet right now doing a great job hunting down this Bladesworn from red team. But once you lose a lot of the peel potential from blue team, once you lose Boyce, once you lose Sind on the map, it's a lot easier to hunt down Gornet. Now, red team, they didn't really have to push too hard into mid because they did hold the side node, so it's not like they, you know, it was very necessary for them to get it, but it's very easy for them to contest it while those players are dead into Gornet. However, Gornet, again, just doing a great job, I think, keeping pressure off himself by putting pressure back onto the players, but unfortunately, as soon as they really decide to turn their attention to him, without a right peel, he's going to be taking a lot of damage. We do see Riken coming in here onto the Bladesworn, trying to get some pressure off, but Sin going to be forced away from the node as well. And right now, blue team, they have to find some kills. They have to find a way back into this map. Floor so very low in this 1v1 against Drace. He's going to fall in a moment. No plus available for him, and yeah, he goes down, and now Gornet almost dies too. The Shower Grave keeping him alive. They find a return kill onto the Bladesworn. Goku will fall. If they can get this cleave, they might be able to find a node back here. Gornet still keeping some pressure away, but a spree now coming in, and this will continue to keep this fight even for red team.
Floor ended up dying as well during all of that. So even though we see the Bladesworn be eliminated for red, it happens on the other end here for blue. And then Gornet dies as well. Looks like they might be able to get a counter kill onto a spree. They do. They need to hold Gornet, though. They can't allow that kill, otherwise it will be a rally. Looks like the cleave is enough, though. Of course, Thief very, very squishy, so Gornet back up. Oh, no, God. That is not fun at all. Up and down, unfortunately, for Gornet. Killmage is very low, and there is a revival coming through there from Boyce, so it looks like this fight might be salvageable here for the blue team, but that's a lot of cleave out onto Gornet. Boyce might end up dying there. No, can't quite get that revival. Sin tries to come in. Oh, this could be a very, very green res. Looks like they might actually try and go for it. They kind of need to get it, but no, it's not going to work out. I think blue needs to start thinking about...
He's going to rally.
Yeah, it will rally. Oh, it does.
So very close to them. Killmage still very low. They still think they might be able to find the pressure, but no. Boyce, unfortunately, now going to fall. And yeah, I think, honestly, what really screwed them there was Gornet dying up on top of that cliff. If they'd been able to get down, it would have been so much easier for them to find players on top of that res, but then Boyce following up there dying as well is going to be bad. And now both buffs going to be popping up here now, Stillness and Tranquility. And unfortunately, Boyce still on respawn. This is going to be a very strong advantage for Akimbo mode.
Yeah, it really is. They've got themselves 100 points up, and once this map really opens up and we have... Look how far it is to the secondary objective. You have to go such a long way to get over here, and that's just going to make it harder and harder to make a recovery for rank 22 Dragons here. And Akimbo mode, yeah, they're certainly pushing forwards, pushing their advantage even further here. Gornet in this 1v2, has to back away from that node, can't contest it any longer. So worst case scenario, this is going to be a double cap, I think, in favor of Akimbo. Although having said that, there is a decap there. Syndra gets some value on the map, and in fact, Floor still holding on to the Ultra at the same time. So blue, they've definitely got a spark of life. You know, I think we're maybe talking like they're in a lot of trouble, but, you know, it's definitely recoverable. But Gornet's running out of hit points over here. See if blue team can make this work.
He needs help, and again, I mean, this is where the map just really works against this Necro. He needs help, but obviously the rest of his team have to contest these two nodes. They can't continue to peel him out, and so if if he can't be in a position for them to, to get him out, then he's just going to end up falling. That being said, they do get the decap onto mid, and they've double capped for quite a while still contesting these nodes. They're doing an excellent job of splitting up around the map, even with losing Gornet. They should lose Alter here momentarily, but they've turned it into a double cap nonetheless.
Yeah, they absolutely have.
For a moment.
Yeah, it does now get given away as the Thieves decap. Floor actually manages the 1v2 almost here. She holds on well. Gornet is now back. If they could take this 2v2, that would be fantastic. Here we go. Here's the Necromancer. That's very, very big. Esprit actually quite pressured. Just popped his heal, so he doesn't have much after this. Could they somehow find this kill? Drace in a lot of trouble here as well. Boyce looking for a kill. I think we'll actually find that as well. Super, super low there. Pops down the well. They're trying to hold on. No Shroud for a little while. Oh, the barrier support is excellent. No Spectres working together as a team to bring that support to the table. Looks like the Spectre will just barely survive. Maybe turning it around on the Syndrina here as well. But actually, blue team do end up getting that kill. They need a little bit more than this, though. They need more than this. Let's see if they can find it.
This was a really nice plus from Sind onto that top off where Boyce was keeping Drace busy, and Sind just seeing that low target got him in, and they get Stillness. So Stillness now going to keep them even for at least a couple of moments while the double cap is in favor here for red team. But now we see Boyce coming over. That should be Temple probably decap pretty quickly. Killmage, he might go down, in fact. I don't know if he's going to be able to get out. He has Shroud for a couple more seconds. Drace, as well as the Bladesworn coming back in. They should probably be able to peel him out. Unless, wait, Boyce can find the kill nonetheless. Sind is going to be very, very low on this. They have to be able to cleave this out before Sind goes into downstate. Great fear coming off the force. Drace away here. We see Boyce going in for the cleave, but we see Drace now going in for the res. Sind still getting pressured away from this. He can't really help Boyce out, but I'm not sure if Boyce even needs it. Sind almost going to go into downstate, though. The Bladesworn trying to find the kill, but they might be able to finish this kill, I think, before Sind falls himself. He ports away at the last second. Thief going to be in downstate as well, going to be porting away, but Boyce nonetheless finds the kill, and Sind still going to be very low, but is alive for a moment. I can't believe it, and Drace actually going to be pressured out as well. Boyce on the hunt. Sind keeping himself alive. Boyce might be but Esprit coming back in off respawn, being chased down by Gornet now. They're so very low, and Sind finally falls.
They're going to go for it. They're just going to go for the nuke. Sind can port, I believe. He's got it. He's got the port. They're going to win the cleave. They're going to get it. They actually find it. Oh, my God. And
unbelievable.
That is unreal. That was Sind and Boyce were basically 2v3.
Esprit gonna go down.
And Esprit is gonna fall. That is unbelievable. What an insane hold from Syndrina and Boyce into those two kills with the cleave with Gornet coming back off respawn. Blue team in the driver's seat. Can they save Sind though? Syndrina in so much trouble, getting blasted by so many conditions. But Floor should be here for the support. That should be good enough. Can they turn it around onto Killmage? Blue team now in the lead. Sind needs to find some way to get out though. He's got to disengage. He's so very low.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, Sind has been on like 10% HP for the last 2 minutes straight. He just can't get away from these players, but they can't get away from Boyce either. And the side nodes keep on ticking. The double cap keeps going. Wait! Oh, Floor almost stole that stone.
That would have been ridiculous.
No, nonetheless, blue team finding a way to come back into this game after over a 100-point deficit, and Sind still has not been taken out. Esprit looking for him, but look at Boyce. He's coming back in to try to pressure this Spectre away from Sind.
Yeah, does succeed in doing so as well. Sind holds on, he lives, and in fact, Boyce now potentially in a position to go for a kill. Doesn't have his port up right now. Wants to try and force Esprit to push back in to try and bait him into a bad situation. Does succeed in doing that, actually. Is that going to... Esprit gets the stealth, and now there's a nut. The Bladesworn now comes in, and I think that's going to prompt blue team to rotate away. However, blue in the lead. Esprit moving to plus over here, but Boyce following. Nearly finds the kill. The pet goes in. There's so much DPS coming onto that, onto the Spectre. There's not much Shroud here either. Esprit is in trouble.
Yeah, he does get away and gets the heal. Really, really nice plus from Sind onto middle node. Gornet was in a lot of trouble, and Sind is going to be able to open that node back up, puts a lot of pressure on it, and keep the Harbinger from dying, most importantly. Still about a 40-point lead for them. 3.5 minutes left. We are going to see buffs spawn for the second time. They haven't been capped yet, but they're going to be going, oh, look at the port from Boyce onto Esprit. He almost one-shots him. Esprit very, very low. The interrupt. I think he's going to be able to get it.
Does he get it? He does get it! That is insane. What an excellent kill there from Boyce. This is not the time when red team wants to be dying. Blue team should be able to grab the middle node at the same time. Meanwhile, we have Floor just holding on against Killmage. 2 kills as buffs are up. This is going to be a problematic situation. Of course, they're going to respawn. Well, it doesn't really do anything, I guess, because no one's taking them. But still, blue team maintain that lead. 374, 735 to 413. They've just got to hold on a little bit longer. Gornet holding on in middle. Does not want to leave the node. Is a little bit worried about a decap. Is going to make a rotation, though, alongside Boyce. Floor in so much trouble. Ooh, is that recoverable? No, Boyce not even going to go for it, in fact.
Wait. Oh, a little bit of indecision from Boyce, unfortunately. He does decide to come back in.
Stealth?
I think he should be able to get this res, but it's going to slow him down so much. This is a big problem for them. The points are still very close, and they will be able to, I think, I don't even think the res is possible. I think Boyce has to just see this up, but he doesn't want to give up the node in case, I think, Stillness goes, and they also just don't want to fall too far behind. Sind now in a 1v1 against Drace. It's looking good for him. If he can find this kill... It's
10 poison stacks.
Drace
is that enough?
Some cooldowns, though. I think it might be the Shroud going to keep him alive for a couple more seconds, but the Torment is going to be too much for him. This should be the decap, but I don't know. The Bladesworn making his way over, and we actually see Spree coming in as well. Yeah, that's not going to be the decap. It's just going to be the kill. They need to send some more players into this node, otherwise Sind is not going to be able to finish this kill. Spree will be able to stop him from doing so. Gornet stuck on Stillness, though, and they've almost gotten their points back. Boyce still locked into this altar node. He is going to be able to finally cap it, but he's been out of this map for too long, and that is a huge problem now for blue team.
Sind gets the kill, though. He actually finds it, but he's really far behind on cooldowns into another 1v1 into another Spectre. Tries to port out, but actually might end up dying. It has a little bit of trouble, but really needs some help. I don't think Boyce can get over here as he's fighting over the buff at this time as well. Killmage in a lot of trouble. Blue team still ahead. I think Boyce finds that kill. Oh, the Drake gets the kill. Now Drace coming back and they're trying to potentially hold this, but I think we're going to see another kill. 5 points matters right now as well, Roy. Every kill is going to count. That's going to keep blue team in the lead just a little bit longer. And actually middle node, I think with Floor and Gornet should go the way of blue team. I don't think the Blades will get that. Syndra does eventually die to a Spree over there. That gives red team one last opportunity to try and push back and get into the lead. Of course, they're a player down as well. Both thieves actually going to respawn about the same time. Oh, Boyce finds another kill. What a monster. Boyce is absolutely popping off this game. He's just been finding impossible kill after impossible kill. And I think that might actually just about do it, as middle has been lost there. Floor and Gornet secure that node. The French have fallen. Drace in the downstate. Sin contesting Killmage here. I don't believe it. Gornet dies at the end, but it doesn't matter. Stillness is captured. And that's it. Rank 22 Dragons. They come in at the last second and they somehow win this.
GG. Boyce just farming these Spectres like it's his job. Very well played from blue team. I mean, all of them playing well. Playing around the Harbinger too really, really well. But yeah, I mean, hats off to Boyce and Sind there, I think. Just popping off in that extended outnumbered fight at Temple. GG's to them. A last-minute team coming in just to give us some content, Teapot. How do you like that?
Yeah.
Really, really well played. GG's all team. Akimbo mode, I mean, playing out of their minds. Barcode playing out of their minds. Team Copium playing out of their minds. Some awesome teams coming into this. But yeah, GG's and congratulations to that blue team. Rank 22 Dragons and friends. Love to see it. You really do.
Yeah, you really do. What a tournament. And actually, I'm really glad it was good as that because, of course, this is the point of this. We're here to showcase PvP to all of the new players who might be hopping on board thanks to the hype from the Steam release and, of course, Twitch drops. That was an incredible set of matches there. I mean, look, it really came down to the wire. That game was maybe 1 or 2 kills away from going the other way, if that.
Yeah,
an awesome match to finish on there as well. The return of the French, not quite enough to actually defeat the last-minute team of some insanely good players there as well. They're from rank 22 Dragons. Absolutely incredible. What a game. What a game indeed.
Yeah. No, absolutely. Unbelievable. Yeah, you can... I don't know, man. Yeah, Boyce just really popping off there.
He's pretty good.
It was a pleasure to watch that, a pleasure to cast and commentate. So yeah, some very good stuff. Yeah, I mean, what more can you say? We've got the statues of these boys, and you know what? They weren't gonna play this AT 2 days ago either.
Yeah,
we had to beg them to play, and you know what? They said, "All right, fine, we'll come in, we'll put on a show," and look at that, they win the tournament. Yeah, love to see it. Really, really big shout out to them. Big shout out to everyone who played and participated in the tournament. Obviously, it was a pleasure to cast and a pleasure to commentate with you, Teapot. Thank you for hosting. Thank you for streaming. And yeah. GG's.
GG's indeed. It is my pleasure. And again, once again, thank you to yourself, Roy, for hopping on board here. Taking time out of your busy schedule to come and help us showcase PvP.
Yeah,
of course, to ArenaNet for arranging this, and obviously for grabbing us a little bit of Twitch front page action here as well. And of course, the Twitch drops. And to, again, the teams. I really want to emphasize what you said there. This was a bit of a last-minute thing that we tried to really hype up and get excited about. They came together and we really got a lot of awesome teams playing there to make it extra special to showcase it. And actually, take a look at this. If you're interested in what you can get for being the very, very best in PvP, this is what you get. This is what is referred to as a monthly automated tournament gizmo, is what it's referred to as. And there are 12 of them, one for each month for all of the monthly automated tournaments. And indeed, this is the Sun one. It's a pretty good one, actually, if you ask me. It's, I'm a fan. Don't know about you. It's pretty good.
It is very nice. It is very, very nice indeed. Yeah, no, honestly, that was a lot of really fun matches to look at and watch. That final was actually one of the more exciting finals I think I've seen.
Oh yeah, that was epic.
Yeah, it was really, really good.
It was really, really good. It really was. Incredible matches. And I hope that got you a bit excited about Guild Wars 2 PvP. It's one of those game modes that I think is a little underappreciated and perhaps even a little unknown, right? You know, in the outer space of the internet there in terms of Guild Wars 2. But Guild Wars 2 really does PvP extremely well. And I hope that that translated across very well by looking at some of those games and certainly the finals there. So yeah. And yeah, you also get a statue of yourself here in the PvP lobby. Look, there you go.
Hold on. Now, I am a little bit disappointed. They lined up in the wrong order to match with their statues. Like, are they even trying?
That is a bit poor, isn't it?
Like, come on.
That's a bit rough.
What are you guys doing? Seriously. Like, I will say though, I do like that it is both Boyce and Sind repping 55 though, because it really is the rank 22 dragons, right? It's just two of them. So that is a good touch. But yeah, you know, it is unfortunate. Maybe next time they can get it. But yeah. Yeah, very good stuff. Very, very fun times. I suppose that is probably it for me. You know, I've gotta probably leave you here now, Teapot, but I assume you're going to keep on streaming, so
yeah, I'll probably
enjoy the rest of your stream.
I'll continue, and yeah, I really hope that we can do more stuff like this in the future. You know, I think it's always a pleasure to commentate anything with yourself, of course, right? You know, can't have you as much as I used to be able to. Okay, but
and my rate's gone up.
Yeah, indeed,
from 0 to 0.
But yeah. Again, I really appreciate it, and it was an awesome time. And I hope to do much more like this in the future to continue to showcase, you know, a game mode that's, you know, I know that you're very passionate about, I'm very passionate about, and more, right? You know, and other competitive play. Like competitive play in Guild Wars it's fantastic. It really is. It's enabled by the game's quality, excellent combat system. Really lends itself well to high level and very technical play. It was fantastic stuff. And yeah, thank you very much. I guess that'll be it. Thank you very much indeed, Roy. I will let you go. I will let you be free. Do you have any final words for the viewers?
Just once again, thank you to all the participants in the monthly. It was a pleasure to watch and cast. Congratulations to Rank 22 Dragons and friends on their victory. GG's to all the teams. Thank you all for watching. And of course, shout out to Teapot for hosting. Again, this is, you know, a very enjoyable time for me to be able to come back and cast again with you and for all you guys. Yeah, make sure you continue to follow and watch the stream, guys. Watch all the other Guild Wars 2 Twitch streamers, put in a lot of work to bring content for you. And yeah, hope you all have a lovely weekend. Enjoy yourselves. And don't forget, next week is the Seattle anniversary party. I may be there, so if you are there, come and say hello. And yeah, I hope to see some of you guys there. But yeah, otherwise, have a lovely rest of your weekend. Have a great week. Take care, everybody. Be safe. And yeah, see you next time.
That'll do it. Thank you very much indeed, Roy. I will see you around.